Why are there so many shows starring Muppets and dozens of movies too? They said they'd watch everyone and they mean it. It's something that they've got to do. So now they pledge you a lifelong commitment. The Muppets, Matthew and Sam.
Welcome to Commitment, the podcast where two friends have vowed to watch all things Muppets. I'm Matthew Gatos.
And I'm Sam Schultz.
And this week we are continuing our journey through 1984 and into November of 1984 as we watch the last 4 episodes of Muppet Babies Season 1, titled Gonzo's Video Show, Fun Park Fantasies, From a Galaxy Far, Far Away, and Good Clean Fun. One of those is a Star Wars episode, and you might not be able to guess immediately which one based on the titles. But this week, we are not alone. We are joined by friend, co-worker, confidant, Nick Jenkins.
Yeah, I'm Nick Jenkins. I'm an executive producer at Complexly with these two gentlemen. And I'm here to talk about Muppets in my childhood.
In the past, we've talked about sort of Muppet Babies being a show that we are at the age where we caught like some of the later seasons probably in first airings, but a lot of it was in reruns on Disney Channel. And we also barely remember anything we saw as children because we were so little.
Because we were Matt and Sam babies.
Yeah, we were commitment babies. So I'd be very curious as we go through these to hear your opinion on these, Nick, because you have actual memories of Muppet Babies and watching it when you were younger. But before we get into that, I got to ask just in general, your history with the Muppets. Did you like the Muppets growing up? Have you always liked the Muppets? Are you kind of meh on the Muppets?
So all of those things. Muppets were always a part of my household. So I was born in 1977. And the Muppet Show was on when I was very little, caught it in reruns, and had several albums. My mom had several of the albums. And so I have like Mr. Bassman forever stuck in my head. And actually, and not ironically, I do enjoy Tenderly by the Electric Mayhem. I like that song. And so there's a lot in there that is it's also synonymous with Christmas for me because we had the John Denver Christmas album. And I can't remember if that Christmas album had the 12 Days of Christmas.
It does.
It did?
Yeah,
okay. All right.
did,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was always a part of my life. The Muppets were always a part of my life. Muppet Babies was a part of my life, which we'll talk more about, I guess. And I sort of checked out, not because of this, but it was about that time in my life. It was when Jim Henson passed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't watch it. We always went to the theater to see the new movie, whatever it was. Your guys' episode of the great, it was Muppets Take Manhattan was hilarious to me because I was listening to you guys outline the plot and the whole time going, have I seen this movie? And then you get to the part where Kermit is hit by a taxi and I'm like, oh, okay. Yes. Now I know. I remember.
Yeah, the last 15 minutes of the movie.
That's the only part of that movie I remember. So I would say that the Muppets were always a part of my life. And then Jim Henson in particular in Henson Studios, much more so than just the Muppets.
You're a Dark Crystal guy.
No. No, Labyrinth. And then we'll talk about it hopefully in 10 or 15 years, Farscape.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have agreed Nick will be on as our guest to discuss Farscape when we eventually talk about Farscape, which will be literal years from now.
But yeah, so it's always been kind of a part of my life. I've always been aware of it. I always liked Frank Oz as a director and as an actor outside of puppeteering, and was always very aware. Like my mom was very aware of the different actors in the Muppets and would always point them out to me. And so that meant that I was very aware of what was
So your
going
mom was a big Muppet fan?
Yeah, she was.
Mine too.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like my mom had kids so young that she was like, I don't give a shit about these Muppets. She was like, I got kids to raise. Well, do you have any like current favorite, like looking back, pieces of Muppet media or favorite Muppets that have always stood out to you?
Well, my favorite Muppet is, and I'm assuming will always be Rolf. I just love Rolf.
Good choice.
Yeah.
What do you think about Baby Rolf?
Baby Rolf is fine.
Love Baby Rolf.
Yeah, I think Baby Rolf is fine. We'll talk about it when we get into the episodes. I have different favorites when it comes to the Muppet Babies.
Yeah.
Some are easy to despise.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some are. Favorite piece of media is complicated because it's very rare that I like an entire piece of media. So as an example, if you look at the recent Electric Mayhem show, I was sort of 50-50 on it. It was like some of this I really like and some of it is, whatever. But I love the sequence with Animal and Ben Schwartz. Like,
That was really funny.
Not just as a Muppet thing, but as a thing. Like I will watch that to get a good laugh.
Yeah. I think that was part of what was so great about that show was that there were moments that were not great just as Muppet things, but that transcended that, which is kind of like that's the old spirit of the Muppets a little bit. It's like you're not happy to see you're happy to see the Muppets, but you're also like happy to see this like legitimately funny piece of comedy.
Yeah. And then the other thing for me is several people have done this, but on YouTube you can find compilations of Kermit losing his cool, which is Jim Henson as Kermit losing his cool is one of my very favorite things and has been since I was a child. There's one where he fires Miss Piggy that is one of the funniest things.
Yeah.
You are fired. You are fired.
The undercurrent of him being mad at Frank is very apparent in those moments.
Yes. And then this is kind of cheating, but I think my favorite, if we can expand it to just Henson property, it would be Farscape. I absolutely love that show.
I'm fascinated to get into things like Farscape and specifically more post-Jim work across Henson and the Muppets because so much of that I do not have any familiarity with, and some of this stuff I didn't even know existed until we started doing this podcast. And I'm just like, oh, I guess we're watching this weird sci-fi show I've never heard of.
You never heard of Farscape?
I think maybe in passing, but had no idea what it was or that it was connected to Henson at all.
Farscape, though, marks another thing of like a lot of media that is surrounding Jim Henson is about my mom. And my mom is the one who shared Farscape with me. She's like, you got to watch this. And she sent me some VHS tapes she had made and I watched it and I was like, this is great.
Wow.
So
that's so interesting. Your mom is a big puppet fan.
She likes imaginative things. And I think there's something about the Muppets and Muppet Babies, frankly, but there's something about the Muppets overall that feels very imaginative.
Got a whimsical mom.
Yeah.
They take it very literally in Muppet Babies.
They do.
In which they go, imagine harder.
Squeeze one out.
Yeah. Did you watch Sesame Street ever?
Oh, yeah. All the time. So I don't know for sure, but I think I was watching it when, oh, God, I can't remember his name, but the old man died.
Mr. Hooper.
Mr. Hooper.
Yeah. I don't have a vivid memory of it, but I remember it was sort of all at the time. That I was watching it and then watched it for a while. And there was that PBS thing where it was like Sesame Street, The Electric Company, and Mr. Rogers kind of all together. And Mr. Rogers was always my least favorite, but I watched it anyway.
I mean, shittier puppets for sure.
Definitely worse puppets. Yeah.
A lot of people really like his cadence and I don't. For me, it was frustrating to listen to him. I was just.
I imagine like a 5-year-old Nick Jenkins now just being like, I don't like this guy.
It's like, can you please pick up the pace, sir?
Sesame Street has some great Kermit getting frustrated.
Yes.
He's so mad at Grover all the time.
Mostly
so mad
Grover.
At Grover. No, there's this one where he gets mad at Cookie Monster because Cookie Monster can't guess what's in the box, and and it's just it's a round food that's orange. What is it? And he can't guess it, and it is it's so good, and it makes me love Kermit and Cookie Monster all the more.
Yeah, looking at when Will Lee died, Mr. Hooper, you would have been 5, so that would have been like prime Sesame Street watching time. So yeah,
you might have watched that. What did they play it on Thanksgiving Day or something like that?
I think it was because they knew parents would be home with kids to explain death to them that day.
Yeah. I, again, don't remember the details of it, but I do remember I remember knowing that Mr. Hooper died.
I feel like that's so many of us with Sesame Street specifically, because obviously it's geared towards like 3 to 4 year olds. And so most of us don't remember every day of our lives from when we were 3 or 4. But we all, like, I know I look back and don't have strong memories of watching Sesame Street, but I have lots of photos of me as a kid with like an Ernie doll or a Big Bird doll.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, clearly I must have liked it, or my parents were like surrounding me with that stuff enough that I had toys of it. But I have no memories like of specific moments from Sesame Street as a kid.
Yeah. But like everybody inherently knows who like Gordon is and
And Bob.
yeah. And Bob. Yeah.
Well then, Sam, I think it's about time. We've hit that point in the podcast that we hit every week where I ask you, what do we watch this week?
And Matt, I'd be happy to fill you in. First up, we watched Gonzo's video show, original air date November 17th, 1984. Nanny lets the babies play with a video camera that she rented because they are trustworthy and never destroy everything that they touch. The babies all have their own ideas for what to do with the camera and struggle for control of it before Kermit finally develops a personality and takes charge by saying that the best way to play with the camera is for them to come up with something to film that they can all be in. So they decide to remake the first Star Wars movie with Kermit as Luke, Rolf as Obi-Wan, Fozzie as Chewie, Animal as Vader, Scooter and Skeeter as R2 and C-3PO, and Piggy as Leia, who's in love with Luke here, even though Return of the Jedi had already come out and the whole sibling reveal thing had happened, but whatever. Like maybe it would have made more sense for Kermit to play the Harrison Ford role, much like he does as Indiana Frog, but I didn't make this show. So they do that, and then they make Nanny come watch it, and Nanny is very gracious and tells them that it was good, though I'm sure in reality it was terrible, and also babies can't use video cameras. Next, we watched Fun Park Fantasies, airing November 24th, 1984. And oh boy, I'm not sure that I've seen a more pointless episode of anything in my entire life.
Really? Because there's one coming up that I think is more pointless.
I think
This one's
takes
worse.
the cake.
I think this one's worse. At least they're like doing real stuff in the. Well, anyway.
It's about
Nanny tells the
imagination,
babies-
Sam.
Nanny tells the babies she's taking them to the fair tomorrow, and the babies are so excited that they can't sleep. And instead, they pretend that they're at the fair for most of the night before abruptly switching to a fantasy based around Anthony and Cleopatra, because I guess the whole fair thing was sort of a non-starter and they got bored. In the morning, Nanny comes in to wake them up to go to the fair, but they're too tired from staying up playing all night long. Oh, you stupid babies. Next, From a Galaxy Far, Far Away, airing December 1st, 1984, an episode named after Star Wars with the plot of E.T., though the word plot here is pretty generous. The babies are playing pretend, as they do, that they are aliens, which for some reason Nanny has a problem with. She's like, what are you guys doing in here? But anyway, they hear a weird noise and see a weird light outside. And then a goddamn creature crawls into the playroom window, full creature. Everyone freaks out and they think it's an alien. And eventually the creature ends up in the closet where it gets tangled up in a sweater and some trash and comes out looking pretty alienish. They dub the alien Irma and determine somehow that she must be from Neptune. So they want to get her home. They build a rocket out of trash, which they fly to Neptune, where they drop her off and meet her family. This is all, of course, a fantasy, and when they awaken from it, they're for some reason surprised that Irma is still there. But anyway, after that, they see a mysterious man walking around outside Nanny's house, and then Nanny comes in and says that there's a man here to see them because he's been tracking a creature and he wants to ask them if they've seen anything weird. So the babies flip out because they think Irma is about to be alien autopsied and they try to help her escape. But the man comes in and Irma just goes to him and he takes off the sweater to reveal that she is a koala that escaped from the zoo. Also makes it weirdly clear that she is a boy koala named Tom or something like that. And
Charlie.
honestly, okay, Sure, Nick. The koala's name was Charlie. And honestly, that resolution is even weirder than it actually being an alien, in my opinion. Finally, Good Clean Fun, airing December 8th, 1984. The Muppet Babies are playing with clay, a serene and creative endeavor that couldn't possibly lead to destruction and chaos, you say? Well, you don't know the Muppet Babies, my friend. Baby Fozzie goes absolutely bonkers and breaks Nanny's new lamp. She plays it cool, and the babies respect this and decide that they need to do something nice for her, so they run to the kitchen to make her lunch. Those absolute fools, Beaker and Bunsen, are hanging out, by the way, and Bunsen has invented no-bake bread dough that goes out of control and makes a mess of the kitchen. Nanny at this point is getting slightly pissed off and decides, okay, the least messy thing you can do is go give baby animal a bath. Nanny, what are you doing? So they give baby animal a bath, and of course they destroy the bathroom. And Nanny comes in. She's very distraught by her terrible babies that make lots of messes. Then the babies say, "No sweat, Nanny, we'll clean the bathroom." And then they do clean the bathroom, and they do a really good job. And that's the whole episode. And she's like, "Wow, you guys actually did a good job cleaning the bathroom." It's amazing. Elsewhere in 1984, around this time, that song "Do They Know It's Christmas" is recorded by charity supergroup Band-Aid on November 25th and released on December 3rd. Its proceeds went towards combating famine in Ethiopia. Caravan of Courage and Ewok Adventure aired on ABC on November 25th. The last episode of Captain Kangaroo aired on December 8th, which ended a 29-year run on CBS. On December 9th, Michael Jackson announced that he would be leaving the musical group The Jacksons, which led me to also discover that January of 1984 is when Michael Jackson's hair caught on fire when he was filming that Pepsi commercial. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I do.
Well, I mean, I don't, but I remember that it happened.
Yeah, we weren't alive
No.
yet. I remember seeing it on I Love the 80s. And sometime in December of 1984, Tipper Gore, who was horrified by Prince's Purple Rain album, started the Parents Music Resource Center, which was a political action group that was concerned about naughty themes in popular music, which led to the establishment of that parental advisory sticker being on albums where they say cuss words.
Guaranteed you selling a couple million more albums if that sticker was on there for a while.
Hell yeah. I looked at, there's like a list called like the Nasty 15, and We're Not Gonna Take It is one of the songs on there. Bad song.
Well, yeah, it's actively saying we will not do this thing that you want us to do, Sam. We can't have that kind of rebellion.
The rest of, a lot of the other songs are about masturbating. So, you know.
Wow, they had a theme going in the 80s.
Yeah.
Well, in the world of the Muppets in late 1984, we got in Jim's journal, he wrote down on November 18th, Moscow, VTR JH presents Sergei Abratsov.
Oh, this guy again.
Yeah, so this is an old puppeteer that Jim had a lot of respect for. We saw him once in the World Puppetry Festival thing doing like a drunken vodka swilling puppet, I think was his.
Yeah.
And we criticized his puppetry quite harshly, I think.
We were very disrespectful to him. I'm sure he's great. His puppet looked disgusting, and he kept pouring liquid all over it.
Yeah,
it was really
and
weird.
he also did the thing where he came out and he was like, "This puppetry festival will solve the Cold War."
That too, yeah.
Okay, calm down, man.
Yeah. That will be part of the Jim Henson Presents puppetry series that we will get to soonish. And so we'll eventually watch the fruits of Jim's labor from that trip. On November 19th, 1984, Sesame Street Season 16 debuts, which will be the topic of discussion in our next episode. On November 30th, 1984, Jim wrote CBS Deal Done for Computer Special. So this is something that I think we talked about before that didn't end up happening.
So the deal wasn't done.
Well, so that's the thing.
Well, he was supposed to do it, and then he didn't turn in his homework.
Well, that's the thing is like there's not more information about this on Jim's Red Book, but this might be the proposed 1-hour Muppet TV special about computer literacy that we talked about previously, which would be the Muppet Institute of Technology that Douglas Adams consulted on. In the holiday season of 1984, The Great Gonzo in Word Writer was released.
We played that.
Yeah, it's something we played on one of our Patreon live streams, and it's one of the few games we enjoyed.
It's one of the few games with a instruction book. It takes you longer to read than the game takes you to play.
And to be fair, the game itself, I don't remember being a ton of fun, but...
Beautiful instruction book, though.
Yes, lots of great photo shoots done of Gonzo for that instruction manual.
Yeah. And then at the end, it's like, prepare for the greatest adventure of all time. And then it's just like, for like 4 minutes, and then you win the game. It's great.
Yeah, it's back in the day when the box art for video games far exceeded the graphical capabilities of the actual game itself.
I feel like that was really up until recently.
Yeah, that's true.
That all of the, I remember because I owned the Sega Master System, and all of the box art was a lie as to what you were actually getting.
Yeah, I think back like looking, especially at the NES games, were always my favorite, where you'd have like this super elaborate like fantasy novel looking cover. You're like, this is gonna be the coolest game ever, and then it's like this little 8-bit like
all those Final Fantasy guys.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you got little dots for eyes. What am I supposed to do with this?
But yeah, if you want to see us play the great Gonzo and Word Writer, you can go sign up for our Patreon, and you can go back and watch
premium content,
all of those
folks.
live streams, hours and hours and hours of us being frustrated with terrible Muppet video games.
And with each other occasionally.
Yeah, that's true.
mostly you with me.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm not doing anything wrong. I just found a really sexy picture of Woody from Toy Story, okay?
And I'm fine with that as long as we don't talk about it for 15 minutes during the live stream. But that about does it for the end of 1984 and the world of the Muppets. After that, Jim just goes off on holiday for Christmas. And like I said, next episode we'll discuss Sesame Street season 16, which happens in the middle of this. But after that, we're full on into 1985, baby. Getting into our first episode here. Gonzo's video show from November 17th, 1984, written by Jeffrey Scott, of course, because at the time he was writing every episode of Muppet Babies.
Boy, you could tell that's one guy who's just like, I don't know this. How about this? Okay, let's go.
And I've never met a baby, and I have a passing familiarity with the Muppets.
For some reason, this episode was also aired as a primetime special at 8:30 p.m. on December 18th of that year. So they loved it so much, and they were like, "Hey, people like Star Wars, and they're not really getting a lot of Star Wars right now. So what if we gave them Muppet Babies Star Wars in prime time?"
Did anyone watch that?
I mean,
there were only 4 channels back then, Nick.
Well,
You
it's
kinda
true.
had to. And you were. It was Christmas time, so you're probably just. Yeah, I mean, I could see if it was snowy out, dark and cozy. This might be a fun thing to just have on while you're bustling about, wrapping presents or something. You know.
So that evening, I'm looking at the TV guide now. The options for you on the 3 channels that existed. On ABC, you could watch Three's a Crowd.
Oh, God.
What's that?
That's the sequel to Three's Company.
Oh,
That lasted, I don't know. Did it make it a full season? I don't know if it made it a full season.
what was the conceit of it?
I think Jack Tripper,
He's not there anymore.
Yeah, no,
Couldn't
he
possibly
is.
be.
Yeah,
He
it is.
Oh.
It's about
It's
him.
his show.
It's his show.
Oh.
It's his show. They introduced his fiance at the end of Three's Company out of nowhere. And they are married and trying to run a restaurant with his new in-laws. I think that's what it is.
Who's the third person in Three's a
the
Crowd?
the father-in-law.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know
Running a
more about
restaurant.
this show than I knew I did. There were 2 spin-offs from Three's Company, and neither of them lasted a season.
Well, the other things on that night after Three's a Crowd, which was an hour long, by the way.
Three's a Crowd was?
Yeah, that episode
What
at
are they
least was.
doing?
They had a Who's the Boss airing that evening.
Okay.
The successful, the highest rated thing that evening was the A-Team.
Oh, that's what I would have been watching.
Yeah, that was on NBC. And then on CBS at 8 o'clock, we had Yogi Bear's All-Star Comedy Christmas Caper,
That's what I would have been watching.
followed by an episode of Muppet Babies. They came in third place of 3 that evening. And, you know, after you watched Muppet Babies, a movie called He's Fired, She's Hired came on.
in the workplace.
When a New
What
York
are the
advertising
odds?
executive loses his job, his homemaker wife gets a job in the same business. Then while he stays home to write a novel, she becomes a great success using his help and his ideas.
Oh my God.
Oh, that sounds not great.
So he's a good novelist and he's got all the good ideas and she's just a piece of shit.
Yes, his wife would not succeed without his ideas.
Great.
Holy cow.
Yeah, that lost out to Riptide, which was on NBC that evening.
This is a fun podcast. I just want to do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just reread TV guides.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, that is not what this podcast is, and we must talk about Muppet Babies. So getting into this episode, I do want to start off disagreeing with you, Sam, that babies shouldn't have camcorders, because around like age 3 or 4, I was playing with camcorders.
That's not a baby though.
But how old are the Muppet Babies, really?
That's what I want to know because she says you should go give a bath to a baby.
Yeah.
And a baby shouldn't give a bath to another baby.
Well,
So
Animal
they might
is,
be like 6.
Animal is the only one that is clearly coded as a baby.
Yeah, which is so weird. But I guess Muppet Babies just has a nice ring to it.
Yeah.
But they are,
Yeah, you can't say
Children.
Muppet children of
They're
various ages.
yeah.
No, I think that they're kids, and she calls them kids.
Yes,
And if they
she
were
calls them
babies, she
kids.
couldn't have conversations with them.
Also, that's true. At the end, they're frogs and dogs and stuff, but we'll ignore that part of it.
Yeah.
But this episode starts off with Piggy and Kermit hanging out on the beach. Piggy's getting a tan and Kermit's rubbing frog butter on himself. And they're having a whole beach party because apparently there's a sandbox in the nursery.
This one is not an imaginary thing. They just actually have a big lamp and sand.
Mm-hmm.
It shows up in another episode of these fours just off camera slightly. There's just a sandbox and that was the most alarming thing to me. It's like, you can't have that in a house.
It's carpeted clearly in that room.
That's going to be the biggest mess in the world.
That's no good. Yeah.
Especially when you have Animal hanging out trying to just destroy everything at all times. Even his friend's Fun. He's just like, no. I see what you're doing. You're building a sandcastle. Nope. I'm going to destroy that thing.
I love I don't know if I love it. I smiled every time it happened. As I was unaware of how much Animal said sorry in these.
That's a new thing, kind of. So it seems like Miss Piggy's got this new gag where people say sorry to her, and she's like, "That's okay." She does it in like every episode we watch. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
There was one that I thought was legitimately funny.
Yes, me too.
And then there's others.
And the guy writing it must have thought the same thing. And then he was like, "Oh, I'm going to do this all the time."
Much like throughout these episodes, I've noticed, and it's probably happened previously, but it really started to catch my ear this time. They're trying to make Yippee Skippy happen as Miss Piggy's catchphrase.
Oh, I didn't notice
Multiple
that.
times through this, when she's excited, she's like, Yippee Skippy, and runs off. And she does it so many times, it becomes out of place by the end, where you're just like, okay, no one else was that excited. And
she's already got the overpronunciation and the sorry thing. She doesn't need this much.
And the French thing.
Yeah.
The French thing as well. Yeah.
Too much.
Oh, well, I wanted to write down my first note, or wanted to talk about my first note that I wrote down, which is just poor Fozzie.
That's a great note for this entire series.
Yeah.
I just feel like he kind of captures that horrible, a comic who is bad at comedy in a different way than like Frank Oz does with Fozzie and, the Muppet Show in here. But I love the fact that he keeps trying. Like, he is bad at comedy, like really honestly bad. Like, it is, they're not funny bad jokes. They're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, really, he imagines audiences who hate him.
Yes.
Like, it's not just like, it's not like a comedian where he's like, okay, I got to work the audience and hopefully, and this is it. This is the moment. No, even in his head, audiences hate his jokes.
He cannot even imagine an audience enjoying him.
Yeah.
Which I think is true of adult Fozzie Bear too. Maybe. I don't know.
I feel like he's the eternal optimist, where he is sure that this is the one that's going to win them over. Statler and Waldorf will finally like my comedy this time.
He's sure of it until it starts coming out of his mouth, and then he's like,
"Oh no,
God.
what have I done?"
No.
And that is funny. Like, that is a really funny moment of just like, oh no, this is terrible. Oh no. But there was something about it just opening with him bombing in his own imagination that was like really fascinating.
We've seen that like a handful of times. Yeah. There's one where he's using like this light pen to draw in the air his imaginary audience, and he draws them to like perform for them, and they immediately start throwing tomatoes at him and booing him. And it's like, you created this audience and they still hate you.
Yep.
It's much sadder when he's a baby too. And they've introduced the whole throwing tomatoes at him thing, which was not like a aspect of old Fozzie Bear.
Freaking love tomatoes in this show.
Really leaned in on the tomato thing lately.
Yeah. So, but that was the first thing I was like, oh geez, poor Fozzie. That's harsh, man. And it's not harsh in a way of like people are being mean to him. He's being mean to himself.
There's a point in the one where they're imagining that they're in the carnival where he just like he's walking through the maze and he says, "This is pitiful." And I wrote, yes. That could apply to every moment of your life so far.
This is pitiful. You're going to have to be more specific, Fozzie.
Yeah. And I know people have made memes. They're not memes about this, but people have made whole YouTube videos about this that I found in all four of these, frankly, the music writing was rather top notch. Like the songs, like in this one, I Can't Help But Being a Star. It's got a good hook. The music is good. It's, it's sort of this 50s pastiche.
We've had a problem with that because they're all 50s pastiche.
They are. Yeah.
Where we're watching Fraggle Rock at the same time, and those are such a wide variety from like techno to country to everything, that But this was a good batch.
This was
I would agree
a
with
surprisingly good batch of songs. Like, I feel like every other song we've heard up until this point could have been the same song repeated, and I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference. But in this one, they actually did some interesting things with the music.
That's how I felt. Interesting. One of the songs that really sticks in my head from youth is from Muppet Babies, and it's an episode. I don't know if it was this season or a later season, so you guys might already have seen it. But it's the one where they recreate Snow White.
Oh, that's next season.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a song in there that it's called the Snow White Blues, and it is stuck in my head forever. It's catchy. It's got good lyrics. Like, so there's something about this that I was immediately like, this is a toe tapper. Like, I like this, and they're using the lyrics well, and I think that was something that, like, people bring it up with, like, Gummy Bears. The Gummy Bears theme song is a bop and a half. It's like really, it's great. And then, you know, there's a lot of other things. Tailspin is an interesting theme song. You know, DuckTales is an interesting theme song. Like, there's a lot of really good stuff.
Great decade for theme songs.
Yeah, it was a decade for theme songs, and I think music in general, even Alvin and the Chipmunks, like that is a, you know, so that Saturday morning cartoon theme song stuff was pretty good, and I think it translated into these 4 episodes well.
Is Gummy Bears theme the one that was sung by John Williams' son? Is that right?
I don't know.
I mean, that's
think
very
John Williams' son.
Joseph Williams.
I think he was a part of Toto.
Yes, that's right.
And he did one of the great travesties of the Star Wars special editions was removing Lopty Neck from the soundtrack and replacing it with Jedi Rocks, which is, oh boy. But Lopty Neck was, I think, either written or co-written by John Williams' son.
He did, I can confirm, sing the Gummy Bears theme song.
It's a good theme song.
Lopty Neck.
It's a very good theme song, yeah.
I mean, that's on the same section of the Wikipedia that I'm looking at, so I can confirm he also sang that.
Jedi Rocks is like one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my life.
It's pretty embarrassing. Like, not in a I'm making fun of it way. I'm just like, this is not good. This is a problem. It doesn't look right. It doesn't sound right. Lopty Neck felt like a weird thing that Jabba would have in his palace.
Yeah.
It also didn't make the entire movie about it. They didn't scream out of the camera at you. Like, pay attention to this song.
Yeah, weird choices made in 1997 by George Lucas. It was weird stuff, but that was I just want to go on record saying I really like George Lucas. I think he's a really tremendous human being.
George, if you're listening, we like you.
We love you.
I'm just
come on the pod, George.
Just have a couple questions about some decisions you made in 1997 about some of these movies, but also keep up all the humanitarian work because goddamn.
Well, continuing this about to be 4-hour long podcast, Nanny kicks off the episode by bringing in the video camera she rented, which at the time would have been like $1,000 camcorder.
Oh my God.
Camcorders were fairly new at this point. Like, really, this was the year they were taking off. I found a Chicago Tribune article about the popularity of camcorders from 1985. And they were, I want to read you the beginning of this article because I think it encapsulates exactly how people were maybe overhyping, maybe a strong word, but says, this is the opening of this article. In the 1967 movie The Graduate, Benjamin got the word plastics. Today, that friend of his father's probably would whisper camcorder in his ear.
I actually don't think that's that far off.
Plastics and camcorders, while both popular...
We all have a camera on our phone, Matt.
The idea... Well, look, no, he would not have whispered camcorder, but...
It also would have been very confusing.
Well, yeah, that's true. But no, it did change the world of cinema. Like it was slow to do it, but the idea of home video in general, whether it was watching it or recording it, like it gave people, it changed careers. It changed how everything was done. And then it took a long time before Lucas himself would eventually make that huge jump with pickups of the Phantom Menace and then the whole thing of Attack of the Clones, of actually shooting on video instead of film to make it look like a professional movie.
That's what I thought was interesting about this, is the fact that, like, not only are they riding the hype for this episode of camcorders, which was like happening at this exact time, but they also are looking at making your own films with it, which is something that I think when camcorders were first starting to come out, a lot of people were viewing it as, you know,
Kids baseball game.
Right, exactly. Your home movie is capturing this stuff. And I know I was doing the kind of stuff that the babies are doing in this episode when I was growing up. But it's so interesting to see them doing that immediately as soon as these things are popular. It's sort of like in a past episode, we talked about how at one point Kermit talks about wanting to be like a video game designer. And I'm like, really? Wow. In 1984, for a kid to be saying that feels like ahead of the times a little bit.
Well, it's because it's written by adults, but
well, but even then, like I feel like the idea of saying like someone's gonna be a video game designer in 1984 feels like a weird job to think of for a kid to want to be. And I feel like this is the same thing with like camcorders just coming out, them being $1,000. Maybe people weren't handing them to their kids to go off and shoot movies with, but eventually that is what camcorders would become. Like my parents didn't care at all what I was doing with our camcorder. Well,
it's true. And I mean, the 80s and the early 90s were just, it was a whole subgenre of film, was this shot on home video. But you could get those movies released to video stores. And even some of them even got like theatrical runs, I'm sure. But it was a thing that people were doing. And it was just slow. It was slow going. But it signaled the democratization of a lot of this tech. And so it's interesting. I think it's also one of those things that I'm watching this as an adult and I'm going, that's too small. Like the camcorders of that era, unless you were on like Super 16 or 8 millimeter, they would have been huge. Like they were huge shoulder mounted things. They were big. And in 1984, they had like separate power supplies. Like you had to plug in your battery and carry it around. Your shoulder.
And they carry like a purse like with you that would like have the battery in there, like old like car phones essentially, where it had to have a giant battery attached to it at all times.
Yes, exactly. So there's that, but there is this thing about this show which I remember most, and it's very present in this episode, is this whole idea of whatever you get, we're gonna be creative. Like you're gonna hand them a thing, and they're gonna be creative with it, and that was really inspiring to me as a child. I remember vividly being like, you can take anything and be creative with it, but it wasn't preached at you in that way. It wasn't like on PBS, they would show short films occasionally. There were a bunch of, well, with this tube, you can make a headdress, kind of things. And it's like, that's not what this is doing. This is just saying like, look at these kids taking something and just creating and being imaginative. And I really admire that now looking at it.
Yeah, no, teaching pretend and like, I think that is one of those things that none of us are parents, but I know I have heard that is one of the things that can be harder with some kids is getting them to play on their own and imagine and not just take everything very literally. And so I think there's definitely a strength in showing that happening of with a cardboard box, you can be in a spaceship, like kind of mentality. And I think there's something to that where something else that we've seen throughout most of these episodes so far is that all of the kids are on board with like pivoting the fantasy. As soon as one of the other kids is like, now where there's a dinosaur, they're like, okay, everyone, there's a dinosaur now. We have to fight the dinosaur. And no one, occasionally this happens, but rarely does any...
It's always Scooter, too.
I think it's always Miss Piggy.
Well, Miss Piggy wants to be in charge of the fantasy most times.
Yeah. But Scooter's the one who's like, that doesn't make any sense.
The other thing that I really like about this whole imagination thing is, and it's something that I've heard people talk about with children, is you need to let them play because it teaches them how to make up rules. And it teaches them how to also then work with other people to follow those rules. Like it's really good at teaching some abstract ideas like that. And I do like it in here. And I like that Kermit, as you said, develops a personality, but I also like that he does realize that, okay, we're in dire need of leadership. So I'm going to...
This is the moment that changed the rest of the course of his life.
Exactly. I feel like this is the moment where he becomes Kermit. And I like that. I like that moment. It made me smile, and it made me go, thank God somebody's taking control of this mess.
And what you're saying is making me, because with Sesame Street, they spent years researching curriculums and like making the show that actually taught stuff. And I'm wondering if the person or people who made Muppet Show or Muppet Babies thought about that at all.
Oh, that was the
I suppose
intention.
they probably did.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I wonder to what extent they actually like researched how to do that.
I'm guessing less than Sesame Street, because Sesame
Yeah.
Street, like you
Because they had to make it in 6 months.
Yes.
Also.
The idea of this show, like they signed the deal in March 84 and it was airing in September 84 and it's animated in Japan. And so having to send things over, and there's no way that was an easy process. So yeah, I am sure they couldn't spend that much time thinking about an actual curriculum or discussing things with like child psychologists like they did with Sesame Street. So it really was just this idea of, all right, the kids pretend a lot, go. And maybe we'll see that develop a bit in future seasons as they, get through the first season. They're like, oh, we actually did it. All right, let's think about the second season now before we start making it.
Yeah, I think
Probably not, though.
I think there's a cool thing that I noticed, which was, can I use the Force yet? Can I use the Force now? Can I use the Force? That's a very childhood thing, is you set up the rule that like, well, no, in order for the game to work, you can't just use the thing, which we see in films occasionally where we end up going, why don't they just use their superpower, or whatever. But I like it in here as it's like, well, no, we're not done playing the game yet. And that would be the end of the game. And so you have to not use the Force yet. That was kind of cool too.
That is a lesson that would help a lot of people with their media literacy issues and complaining about stupid stuff.
Yes. And my final note is Nanny has more patience than I will ever have in my life.
Nanny is a completely just out there who I don't even know what Nanny's thinking.
Let's say
She doesn't have patience. She's just on a different.
she just doesn't give a
plane of
shit.
existence.
She's just like,
Yeah.
you guys are good, right? Bye.
If she walked in and the camera was destroyed, she'd say, "Okay," and then just walk away, and that would be it.
Yeah.
No, she would be sad. She would say, oh, no.
But then they would
Yeah.
build her a new camera out of garbage, and she'd be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, thanks, kids. Problem
I'll
solved."
return this to the camera store. And then they get a call and he'd be like, "Oh, Mr. Roberts loves your camera. Thanks
He's
for
gonna
the
pay you
camera,
$1 billion.
kids."
Who wants to go to Hollywood?
Well, we find out early on when they start making their movie stuff that a slight bit of Muppet lore. Scooter and Skeeter are fighting over who's going to be on camera first, and Scooter says he should because he's older, and Skeeter says only by a minute.
Only by a minute.
Wow. Okay, wait a minute.
We don't need more Skeeter voice.
Is there a canon reason? Okay, so when I was watching this as a kid,
Yeah.
this is the thing that consumed me. Is there an
Yeah.
in-canon reason for what happened to Skeeter?
There was one in comic books that were written specifically just to address it. So, but that was decades later. Not at the time. There was
What
no
was it?
explanation of any of it. She just went off to be an adventurer.
Yeah, basically
or something like that.
they've written her as she becomes way cooler than any of the other Muppets. And so she's like, yeah, I'm not going to hang out with my friends from childhood anymore. I got shit to do. So she becomes like an Indiana Jones type of person for a while. She goes off to like become a Buddhist, like all these ideas where she's just off living a life. And sort of the Muppets are like, yeah, I guess if she ever wants to come back, she can, but we don't know.
Yeah, like in interviews, they'll say stuff like that. If they're asked about her, they will say,
But really,
last I heard, she was in the jungle.
yeah, but really she was created because they only had one female Muppet, and they wanted to add another character that little
Could have
girls
let
could
it
enjoy.
be Janice. Why not just let it be Janice?
Because we're going to get Janice later on in Muppet Babies, and she's terrifying.
Did you ever think, Nick, about why they were there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I am like, where are
Me too.
all of their parents? Are they just adopted? Because in my head, a nanny was a babysitter.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so, but now I'm wondering, wait, did they just live there and this was their caretaker?
The case.
Yeah, I did wonder that. And
Because they
my
sleep there. They
brain-
have cribs. They all sleep there, except for Bunsen and Beaker, who get to leave whenever they want.
No, Bunsen and Beaker
Yeah.
are their own thing, and that
And they
is
can
also
leave on
weird.
their own, too.
Oh, we're going to walk home, Nanny. Don't worry about us.
We're just gonna get out of here. Yeah, and Kermit has a sister who has a son. So why isn't he raised by a sister? Or yeah, very strange.
I know it's this thing. It's like, look, guys, shut up. We got to make a show, okay? And,
Yeah.
and that's the reason. But at the same time, it does set up and go, where are the parents? Who are
I mean,
the
they could have
parents?
made a show where sometimes Nanny, one time in the whole show, said, "Oh, your parents will be here to pick you up this afternoon," or something, and then at least you'd be like,
But that
okay,
raises so
they're
many
not.
more questions that I don't think they wanted to address.
I suppose.
Well, and it always bothered me too because this flew in the face of. Well, I think Matt, you and I might have talked about this at one point, which was there's multiple weaving canons of Muppet stuff. So like
it's crazy out there.
So the Muppet movie generally fits in with the Muppet Show. Generally, as far as I think.
There's some huge problems.
Are there?
Yes,
okay.
Generally.
But it's like that they met shortly before the Muppet Show, Fozzie and Kermit, right? That's because he picked him up hitchhiking.
So
it really depends on what you're watching, because sometimes he's on a talk show and he's just like, here's this guy, and sometimes they're on like the movie and it's like, this is my best friend.
Our understanding of it is that this is also an internal struggle amongst Muppet performers and writers, and most recently Eric Jacobson, who is now the performer behind Fozzie and Miss Piggy and most of Frank Oz's characters, has basically laid it out that in his head, everything except the Muppet Show is pretty much a thing that the Muppets are performing in.
Oh,
so like Muppets Mayhem is a show that the Muppets made. It is not the true canon backstory of the Muppets. It is, so everything they've made, Muppets Take Manhattan, Muppet like Caper, all this stuff, is a movie that the Muppets are making. And so our read on that is sort of like, okay, the Muppet Show and all of their talk show appearances are the canon, like real Muppets in quotes, because that sort of feels the closest we're ever going to get to having a canon. But there's also many exceptions to that rule as well, where suddenly things just fly in the face of that canon. So really the answer is there is no canon, and they never will nail it down purposefully. For their first delving into the fantasy film world here, Kermit plays a sheik briefly before carrying Piggy off into the sunset. We get the Fozzie Bear show, where, of course, he tells some bad jokes and gets hit by a giant tomato. And then everyone suddenly decides they want to make a music video. And they make a music video for a song called I Can't Help Being a Star, where at first Piggy is hesitant because she's like a music video.
She doesn't like music videos.
Yes.
Well, because she can't be the lead actress.
Oh, yeah.
And then she realizes, wait a minute, bands have lead singers.
Yeah.
I can be the star of the video.
It's really easy, actually probably easier than a lot of other stuff to be the lead of a video.
So we get some 80s punk-looking Muppet costumes here.
Singing doo-wop, of course, still, though.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like Ray Stevens' song The Streak.
Oh, it does.
Oh.
You're right.
Yeah.
Is that the novelty song about the streaker?
Yep.
Okay.
Another person who, politically has not aged incredibly
A
well.
lot of those novelty guys, like the guys who sang that song about Snoopy fighting the Red Baron, then they sang a song about Snoopy killing Osama bin Laden.
Ray Stevens did the exact same thing.
He did?
He
Did
made
the
a
streak
whole
kill
album.
Osama bin Laden?
No, but he made a whole album about Osama bin Laden that is quite terrible.
Oh my God.
For many reasons. Skeeter now wants to do gymnastics while Scooter wants to do computer animation, but Kermit becomes a sensible one, and this is when he picks the movie that they should all pick parts in. And Piggy is the one who immediately suggests Star Wars and goes and pulls a lightsaber out of the drawer. She is ready.
She was prepped for this.
That's what she wanted to do the whole time.
Yeah.
She's just too shy to say it.
And they lay out their roles of Kermit Skyhopper, Princess Piggy, Woobaka the Cookie, scratch that, Kuchaka the Bookie, nope, it's, now I'm going to mess it up, Chewbacca the Wookiee is who Fozzie's supposed to play. I don't think they ever settle on like a Fozzie-ified name.
No, some of them
for
don't
him.
get funny names.
But
maybe just him, actually.
He's really cute as Chewbacca, by the way.
He is adorable.
And when he says Kuchaka the Bookie, that made me laugh. I watched it twice.
Yeah.
We get Scooter D2, Skeeter 3PO, which Skeet 3PO would have been much
It was right
better.
there.
It makes me laugh that they both are so excited to be those two complete loser characters, too.
Hey, R2-D2's not a loser.
R2 is cool, but Skeeter would not want to be
No,
C-3PO.
Skeeter would not want to
She'd
be.
be Han Solo. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Although I think Gonzolo is one of the funniest things
That's
I've
a
heard
pretty
in a while.
funny one. Yeah, they did a good job with that.
We get Obi Rolf Kenobi and just Animal Vader.
Yeah.
Those
last two are just like, we're here also. You have to think of parts for us too.
The opening crawl is very cute. It's just written on a piece of notebook paper.
A far time ago, galaxy long, long away.
Well, I did this kind of stuff too, so it was also charming to watch it. Like, I have home video of me shooting a camcorder at a shoebox that I had covered in black construction paper, and my Micro Machines Star Wars figures are just like like on a fishing line in front of the camera.
Dude, I did the same thing. I had, except it was a Micro Machine Millennium Falcon that I tried to tie with fishing wire, and I had a black backdrop, and I watched it back and I went, this looks like dog shit.
I'll never make a film again.
I peaked. I had, like there's like a Death Star in there, and then I had the X-Wing on a fishing line, and it's just like swaying back and forth in this really erratic pattern. And I was like, yes, I have done it. I have made a Star Wars. I bet you made
your mom watch it a bunch of times, though.
You can hear her in the background. I think she's in the kitchen cooking when I'm making it. So I'm probably like, Mom, come here. Come here. But then we cut to real footage of the opening of Star Wars, and we get to see the actual, ships chasing the ships.
I have confusion.
About?
Okay. We have actual footage of Star Wars.
Yes.
But then the animator, like when the escape pod lands, it's just a big rock?
And their ship later on
is just
doesn't
a regular
look like Star Wars-y things
ship.
At all.
I am confused. Like, I mean, sure, speed on some level. And I give him, like, for the spaceship, okay, it might have been hard to really draw the Millennium Falcon. That's a hard ship to draw. But, like, you couldn't make something that looked like a ship for the escape pod, so you just have a big rock?
Well, I think what we're doing right now is exactly what the episode should have done, is they go to make their Star Wars, and we sort of come back from a commercial break, and they say, Kermit Skyhopper and Princess Piggy lived happily ever after.
We finished the movie.
And I'm like, what the hell? I wanted to see Star Wars. And so this is when it turns out they're going to show Nanny. They set up a little drive-in theater. And after fast-forwarding through all their boring-ass home movies, it's time to watch Star Wars.
I was so afraid we were going to have to watch all of the episode again through the camera.
It's like, oh, we've seen this. Please don't show us again.
Yeah.
Well, this is when we actually get into the Star Wars-ified animation, and we get to see them as their characters. We see a delightful little scene of Kermit Skyhopper on Tatooine eating a blue hot dog.
Eating the blue hot dog.
I love how they dance through the exposition of Star Wars by just reciting like the first 30 minutes in 5 seconds. Yeah. Of like, I hope someday I get to be a Jedi like my father.
Yeah, it's funny because once it gets into showing this, I have a lot less to say. Like, I like the surrounding parts of most Muppet Babies episodes. I like the surrounding idea, but when you get into the meat and potatoes of it, I'm kind of like, yep, there it is.
When you get into the 12 minutes that they are like, we don't know what to do. So.
Well, and I think like it felt like this should have been most of the episode, not just the end of the episode, because this is usually the part that we'll talk about with the other episodes where they're hitting the point in the episode that it feels like they're stretching for time, and they're like, okay, I guess we need a song or another fantasy sequence to fill up the rest of this episode. But in this one, you're hitting the most delightful, interesting part of the episode in the last 6 minutes.
And it would have been so fun to get a Star Wars-based song, too.
Yeah, why not? I think this is the most delightful fantasy sequence we've had so far. Yeah. It touches on a lot of like nostalgia for me of both Star Wars and Muppets, but at the same time, it just feels so short that they have to dance through so many fun ideas.
You know what was the saddest thing in that episode? When Scooter was like, I think I look like a nerd. Poor guy.
Was that sad, or was it when Skeeter said, oh, no, you do?
You look like a nerd.
Always there to confirm his worst fears.
Yeah.
They run into the Death Tomato, which is out to destroy all laughter in the galaxy. And this is one of my favorite parts of this episode, is when we see the Death Tomato powering up. Because instead of cutting to actual footage of Star Wars, of the guys powering up, all the levers and buttons and the beam building up, what we get is when we see levers and buttons, it's like a TV booth, like a TV switchboard director booth, and intercut with like tomato processing plants of tomatoes going down conveyor belts and getting canned. I think that's a very clever way to do that sequence.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there's a lot that's very imaginative, especially if you're looking at it from like children made this. It's that idea is kind of fun. Like, you have the Stormtrooper cutouts, which is also kind of a weird callback to Star Wars because they had cardboard cutouts at the end scene because they didn't have enough extras. But it works and in that, and it's fun here. It is funny too. It sort of calls out the fact that like Luke Skywalker is the hero, of the thing, but he doesn't fight the villain in it. But in this one, he does.
He just blows up that tomato using the Force.
Yep, he just thinks real hard.
Really hard, yeah.
And boom.
Which again, this feels very much like what kids would do.
In the real movie.
It just feels like what kids would do. Kids would.
Oh yeah,
be there,
kids'
"I'm
fantasies
using the
are
Force."
OP for sure.
Yes, that's the danger. So I have a force shield. Well, I have a gun that shoots through force field. Well, not this force field because it's specially powered. Like, yeah.
Well, after making their Star Wars and showing it to Nanny, they decide that they should make a real movie and go to Hollywood and be famous.
They're moving right along.
Yeah, they do it. Surprise, spoiler alert.
It's so meta.
Next up, on November 24th, 1984, we had what we referred to earlier as the most pointless episode of Muppet Babies, Fun Park Fantasies.
I strongly disagree that this is the most pointless.
Well,
Nick, nothing happens if you saw this without the imagination part, it would just be a bunch of babies like jumping on a bed for 20 minutes.
True of everything with imagination.
no. They got to play with a camcorder at least in the last episode.
Yeah, and they mess up the bathroom in the last one.
Oh my God. You're
I mean,
right.
tons of messes in that last one.
Yeah.
This is literally nothing happens. But it starts off with the babies making paper airplanes. Fozzie makes what I think is an unappreciated, sharp, flat joke about Rolf's musical airplane.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's one that would have gotten like, some canned laughter on the Muppet Show, I feel like.
And nobody even addresses it in this.
No.
None of the other Muppet Babies even react as if he said anything.
No.
And this is when Nanny comes in to kill the vibe and says that the kids have to go to bed because they have to wake up to go to the fun park tomorrow. And they're so curious about the fun park. And so Nanny says she'll tell them all about it as they get ready for bed. And then we get some alarmingly naked Muppets.
All get naked. More naked than they've ever been before.
Fozzie strips off his onesie and is fully naked beside.
When his little bow tie comes off, I'm like, oh, we're in uncharted territory now.
He keeps his hat on. He has just his little propeller hat on. And naked Gonzo's running around because he can't find his pajamas.
And he has never been naked.
Yeah, we've never seen a naked Gonzo.
So he is naked. Like, there's no denying it.
Yeah, Fozzie, we're used to just wearing a handkerchief around his neck and that's it. Gonzo's always got clothes on.
He's got something to hide.
Or maybe he's just, he's uncomfortable with his body.
Gonzo the never nude.
I love my notes for this episode. First note, not a lot to say.
Second note, I was right. Nothing to say.
Who was that right stuff joke for?
That right stuff joke was pretty good.
And
it was for Sam, apparently.
Yeah.
The balloon man freaked me out.
But we'll get to him because the kids imagine being at the fun park, which is what sets this whole episode off. And we see Gonzo.
Ganja?
I would say Gonjo.
Gonjo. Yeah. That would be a really good shirt, Matt. I'm going to write that down.
Just a stoned Gonzo and that style of the Tweety Bird shirts sold in the 2000s.
And we can sell it in Amsterdam,
Well, we see Gonzo imagining astronaut suits, and they're the photo cutouts, Monty Python style again. Like, we've seen him imagine things like that. We talked about last time, maybe there's a chance that it's always Gonzo's imagination that has the photo cutouts, but that hasn't been consistent enough.
No. And in this one, they spend some time in his imagination, and it looks kind of like Wacky Land
it's
from
Salvador
like that
Dali.
Looney Tunes episode. Well, or Wacky Land from Looney Tunes, okay?
Yes, but based on Salvador Dali's paintings. Art. But that's when the right stuff joke happens for some reason, just because I guess they needed astronaut suits. But again, they didn't actually need astronaut suits at all. It really feels like they just did that to make the right stuff joke, and I don't know why.
When did that movie come out?
Good question.
Fairly recently.
1983.
That is a grown-up movie. That
I mean, they just made a whole episode about Star Wars, which 3-year-olds weren't having like the strongest memories of Star Wars at that point.
Okay, well, this is a side conversation, but
they were watching it, but like the references in the Muppet Babies episodes about Star Wars weren't for the 3-year-olds.
I think 3 to 5-year-olds for sure.
I think the blue hot dog reference is one of those that I'm thinking of like.
That's true. The blue hot dog reference felt ahead of its time in that I didn't feel like people thought the blue milk was funny until kind of recently.
Yeah, but okay, so I guess my point is, though, that blue hot dog reference didn't stop the show in its tracks to make a joke.
True. They got some time to fill, Nick, so they kind of have to stretch some of these
I guess
things
so.
out
And
a
I
bit.
guess you do want to kind of throw something towards the parents who have to watch this occasionally. Be like, oh, yeah, I remember. I saw the right stuff. Okay.
What's the movie where all the astronauts are old men?
Space Cowboys, and that
Oh,
came out like
God.
10 years ago.
That's what I thought this was.
No.
But I just looked up the right stuff. It's about regular non-old astronauts.
I mean,
Correct.
yeah, it was about the real astronauts based on a true story.
Yes.
Even better.
Which is funny because it's also occasionally listed under science fiction. Just like,
Yeah, you think we went to the moon, Nick?
that's a good. Oh, you think there's a moon, Matt?
Wow.
Piggy and Kermit go on a flying elephant ride that actually flies around, while Animal steals balloons and floats away from the creepy human-looking balloon man. This is one of the humans that we get to see the face, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what creeped me out about it. I was like, holy crap, there's a face.
They're really inconsistent in their fantasies. Sometimes all the adults look like Nanny, they're chopped off at the shoulders, and other times they're this weird, creepy, half Muppet, half cartoon, human-looking thing.
Yeah.
The thing that I think is most fascinating about this moment is when Animal's flying up, he's floating up on balloons. Kermit and Piggy are in their elephant shooting peanuts at him to murder him, I guess. But they pop balloons, and he ends up with one red balloon left. And suddenly, they come out of the fantasy, and he has real balloon.
He's got a balloon. Where did that come from?
It's the Freddy Krueger theorem.
Yeah.
We've talked about this maybe more than anything on this podcast of things coming from fantasies into the real world. And we always compare it to Freddy Krueger, which at the time...
Which hadn't even come out yet or just came out like a day ago. Yeah.
And was not, like, it was a successful movie, but it was not in the zeitgeist as the way it would become.
No.
But that was one of those moments. It happens twice in this batch of episodes where something from the fantasy affects the real world. And in this one, the balloon pops and alerts Nanny that they're not sleeping, which proves that balloon pop had to have been a real noise.
I love the little face that Animal makes when they're like, "Don't pop that balloon, Animal," and he's like, "Fuck you."
he has that face so often. Later on, when he's just throwing clay at people from a bookshelf, he's just like,
I love Animal.
Oh yeah, Animal. I think not necessarily my favorite Muppet Baby, but every time he's doing something, I am enjoying it.
I think he might be my favorite Muppet Baby.
Oh, it's the one that you hate the most, Nick.
Oh, okay. I mean, this is not fair. I think they just wrote her really, really badly. I do not like Piggy.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, I think Piggy's the best one.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
except for the last episode of this batch, I think Piggy is always treated as the smartest character amongst the Muppet Babies, and is always the one who is asking the right questions and coming up with the best ideas.
And she also doesn't do a lot of stuff that makes me think Miss Piggy would not do that as an adult.
That too.
So I also didn't like Piggy, grown up Piggy. So.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
So it's just like there are some things that we all have to deal with, and for me, I end up just, oh God, would you please be quiet? Please don't stop. Please stop. Just stop. And that.
You mean you're not in love with her and want to kiss her?
No,
what's wrong with you?
I'm not, and I don't. This is the
We
other
don't
thing.
know what that's like.
I wouldn't say that I hate the character either. It's just the one that I like the least. Because I kind of like all of them. I mean, everybody else will probably complain about Skeeter. I like Skeeter. Skeeter's fine to me.
Skeeter's the one you could get rid of and nothing
Well, obviously, she was created for the show.
Yeah.
I know, but even in the show, I feel like there's not been an episode where it's really been like, Skeeter's really the MVP here.
Rolf and Fozzie are the two that I could think you could delete from this show and they would not affect anything.
But they're so cute, though.
Rolf's little bust that he makes of himself as Wolfgang, that is one of the, I would own that. Like that's cool. But like, I don't know. There's something about Piggy. Maybe she just reminds me of myself as a child. I don't know. There's this sort of bully that just.
Okay, we're really getting into
I would say that's something I don't think we have time to get into today.
Yeah. But no, there is
a bonus episode for Patreon.
It's like 5-year-old me is always, it's all about me. And this is the thing with her. It's just like, it's all about her. And I'm like, oh God, forgot. That's why I like Kermit when he just said, okay, everybody, here's what we're doing.
Yeah.
I think 5-year-old me was the same, but was like, hey, it's all about me. This is great. No problem here.
Yeah.
But
I was definitely Scooter, who was like, I look like a fucking idiot. I'd rather just not even be visible anymore.
Well,
yeah,
speaking
there's an episode where Skeeter gets real sick, and
Oh my God.
yeah, and
they
it
had
is
a chance to kill her off and they chose not to.
yeah, no, it turned into what's the thing where the movie where they shrink down and go inside somebody's body?
Fantastic Voyage?
Fantastic Voyage.
Yeah.
It's that for the Muppet Babies.
For some reason, when you were saying it turns into a movie, my brain immediately went to Misery. And I was like, that
Yeah, 'cause
seems...
he's in bed.
Yeah, exactly. Sick in bed. I was like, Misery? And I was like, that'd be a cruel twist. Scooter is
Yeah.
just breaking Skeeter's ankle while she's in bed.
We're going to hobble you, Skeeter. Yeah, no, it's but no, I remember even as a kid feeling really sorry for her because she was so sick, and so
Interesting.
but no, I'd say Piggy's my least favorite, but I don't hate her. I'm just very frustrated with her.
Well, speaking of Piggy, she sees herself in a funhouse mirror during their creepy funhouse fantasy sequence. And she's looking tall with like human-like proportions.
Legs,
Yeah, that was weird.
Arms. I didn't like that.
Yeah, it just looks like a human woman's body with Piggy's head slapped
Yeah.
on top,
Yeah.
which she likes. She's like, oh yeah, and Gonzo also likes, leans in and goes, hubba hubba, and she yells, Gonzo. And this is the interesting, I think we hinted at this earlier. He says, I'm sorry. And she's like,
Yes.
it's okay, sort of. I don't know. I thought that was a very interesting way to write that line of like scolding him for hitting on her. And he apologizes and she's like, it's okay, sort of. Like, I don't want you to do it again,
that.
but you're forgiven this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did appreciate the fact that I think Gonzo has bad vision.
Oh, because he sees himself and he's like weirdly
Yeah.
Blurry.
split up into different. Yeah.
I just
was
chalked that up
very
to the mirror
strange.
itself. But
No, I know,
yeah.
but he says, what? This looks normal to me.
And that joke would have been funnier if he had looked completely bonkers instead of just looking fuzzy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If he had looked like, whoa, and he'd been like, this is just what I look like.
Well, because then it becomes the thing of, because Gonzo is a quote unquote weirdo.
Weird guy.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, now I'm just like, oh, does the poor guy need glasses?
It's been his problem the whole time.
mean,
That's
cute-
why all his stunts go
Little
wrong.
glasses on that
He
nose
can't
would be real
land it.
cute.
It would be.
That would be adorable. A little like niece. What are the piece niece?
I have
What are
no
the
idea what you're
ones that
trying to
just
say.
pinch right to your nose.
Oh, from the jerk?
Yes. That's those ones.
This is one I wrote in my notes. This episode doesn't seem to have much of a point other than having a day at the fun park without actually having the kids leave the nursery.
Yeah. Why couldn't they just wake up the next morning and actually go to the fair?
Because then
Because
it's
they
not
don't
about
want him to leave,
imagination. Well, it's
ever.
not about imagination then.
They don't have to imagine something they're about to do in like 8 hours.
Well, because you
They
know what's
don't
going to
do it.
happen is they go to the fun park and then he goes, shit, you guys aren't tall enough to ride anything.
No,
you
that's
got to
a
go
good- yeah.
home. Also, there's 8 of you and I can't keep track of all of you, so one of you's getting lost today.
It's going to be Animal.
Oh, yeah. No, Animal for sure is going to be in the Hall of Presidents or whatever they got at this fun park, just ripping
Yeah.
heads off.
Or he's just living the traveling carnival lifestyle, and he'd be okay with that too, I think. He's putting up tents and stuff.
I actually like the conceit of this episode where it's like, yeah, we're going to go do this big thing. But then you spend so much time imagining what it's going to be like that you're like, I don't need to go. I had a real fun time staying up late with my friends.
It makes the only thing about that is it makes me sad for Nanny because at the end she's like they're all tired and they're like we're too tired to go and then she just kind of like sulks out of the room. Like, well, I wanted
true.
to go.
To be fair, it made me go for Nanny. I'm like, oh, she just got an easy day.
That's
Wow,
yes.
but what if she really wanted to go?
That was going to be really expensive. It was not going to be fun for her. She's not going to be able to have fun at the fun park trying to manage 8
Yeah.
kids.
I guess so.
But as they're trying to go to bed, Skeeter turns to Scooter and says, have you ever seen a merry-go-round? To me, I'm like, there's no way he has ever seen anything that you haven't seen.
That's a very good point.
But he does say he saw one on TV once that had all kinds of animals and cars on it. And then we transition to a fantasy segment where there's a merry-go-round that has just horses.
I think eventually it has a truck on it. Or
Eventually they changed it up. But to go directly from a line where he's saying, I saw one on TV once. It had a bunch of different animals and cars and horses.
Now I'm kind of mad that they made that a Scooter and Skeeter moment because you're right. Like, there's no way he would have seen anything that she hadn't seen.
But to be fair, we also get hinted at these babies have always lived together. Like their entire lives have been spent together. So presumably they all have had the exact same experiences.
I don't know. I think that the twins is a definite odd one to go with.
Maybe in that minute that Scooter was alive and Skeeter wasn't, he's like, "Hey, a merry-go-round."
Could be. I just think that might have been
out the window of the ambulance.
That might have been a better one for, Rolf and Fozzie.
Right.
Or somebody else asking Scooter about it.
Right.
Because Scooter's the smart one who's watched TV, I guess. But
as all smart people do.
Yeah.
Well, then eventually the kids imagine that they're also on the merry-go-round, and that's when the different animals and vehicles start to show up because they got to sing the song "Merry-Go-Round," where we get some troubling costume choices because Kermit chooses to go to China to help them build the other 3 walls along with the Great Wall.
That one's a thinker.
Yeah.
I had to think about that one for a while.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Okay.
He assumes they want to just make a giant room, I guess.
I guess so.
Piggy wants to go to Japan and be a geisha, which is one of the unfortunate costume choices.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And then it continues on after this sequence, after the musical sequence, and this is what Sam alluded to earlier. This episode's Stretch for Time fantasy sequence is Miss Piggy pretending she's Cleopatra.
Yeah, she's sitting in a boat all of a sudden on the merry-go-round, and she's just like, what do we do now?
Yeah, this felt like an 11 o'clock at night decision in the writer's room.
Little, if nothing, to do with the fun park, other than the merry-go-round made her think of it.
I think, so the guy writing these scripts, this is what I think. He probably has a wall with Post-it notes on it that have the different ideas for fantasies he has, and when he comes to a point where he's like, I have no idea what to do now, he pulls one off the wall, and this one said Antony and Cleopatra. And he was like, okay, make it about clowns. There's so much stuff they didn't cover with the fair that they could have covered.
Yeah, like you could have kept the entire thing related to the fun park.
Yeah.
They could have gone into, I think Nanny mentions like a spooky, like a house that they could go into.
Yes,
there can be more scary stuff. There could be so many more things that they could do at a fun park.
Make a haunted house episode, like, like where they have to go through what scares them and stuff like that would be kind of fun. But yeah, the Antony and Cleopatra thing is like, what am I watching the right episode? What happened?
I mean, to be fair, like that is something that is consistently happening in almost every episode. Is that in the last 6 minutes of an episode, aside from the Star Wars one, obviously was an exception, but it's around the last 6 to 10 minutes of an episode. They realize they're out of story, and they go, we need something to happen. So they toss in a random fantasy that has nothing to do with anything we've watched so far, but ends with sort of like the point of the episode, but very tacked on.
Yeah. Once every script, this guy thought, why did we make this show 22 minutes long? What a poor choice on our part. This is where I got really distracted. I didn't watch a lot of this because I started researching whether or not gladiators actually fought to the death.
And?
Because they end up in they didn't.
Oh.
Basically, it said, what if you made like all sports stars fight to the death? That'd be pretty stupid. And that people were like big fans of gladiators.
Right.
So they just beat each other up.
Right. So you wouldn't want to kill them off because then eventually you'd be out of gladiators.
Yeah, it's like if Brock Lesnar died every round of wrestling.
Well, I think you'd only do it once.
Yeah.
But eventually you'd just be on the C team at that point, and nobody cares about any of these people.
Like a mummy. You just have Bonkers the Clown or whatever his name is.
His name was Doink.
I think they killed Doink pretty quick, actually.
There was a few different Doinks throughout the years, so.
Oh shoot! Okay.
But then the Muppets are woken up from their fantasy sequence by an alarm clock that I thought. It's one of those things where if you're looking for theories about Muppets, I think there's potentially some inspiration here.
Okay.
I'm also going to say I'm 99% wrong about this, but the alarm clock is a purple bird, potentially penguin clock, and it immediately reminded me of the new Muppet that they add to the 2018 Muppet Babies, which is a purple penguin named Summer.
Dude.
And I don't think there was any thought about, hey, purple penguin, we should put one of those in our show. But that was just because of the connection there. Seeing like a purple penguin clock made me think of a purple penguin on their other show.
Could be.
I
the
highly
person
doubt
who made
it.
that show right now could be losing their mind, saying he gets it. This guy
Somebody
gets
finally understands my vision.
it. Yeah.
But this is when the kids wake up and they are too tired. And so Nanny...
And they ruin Nanny's day of fun.
Getting into our next episode, we are on December 1st, 1984, from a galaxy far, far away. Wow. Does this episode
This is a weird one.
This is a weird ass episode of Muppet Babies, and that's saying something. The kids are playing It's a Full Moon, which I thought was going to play into it. Turns out no, but they really linger on that moon at the beginning of the episode. And as they're zipping around in their pretend UFO, which seems to be like a popcorn bowl on top of a table.
It's like a table. Pretty cute.
I liked this whole beginning, just so we're clear.
They've all got alien costumes on. They're all speaking in their own alien languages. At one point, Gonzo even says Utini, like a Jawa from Star Wars.
Oh.
And then when Nanny comes in, the babies, for some reason, think she's an alien just because the lights are off.
Yeah. And we see Nanny's head.
Yeah, they actually pan up, and we see an alien monster where Nanny was standing. So
yeah, I feel like there's something we can extrapolate from that alien monster, because parts of Nanny's design are integrated into this alien monster, and the alien monster seems to have a headband on. So one piece of evidence that for me is that Nanny has a headband.
He's also got like a big like heart-shaped head, kind of. He's got like a lumpy head. So maybe she's got
a weird head.
Big like beehive hair.
Curls or something.
Or she's got the stepmother from Cinderella hair going on up there.
With a headband on.
Yeah. We know she jogs. So
we know she does.
And
she also
and
plays tennis
too. Yes, because she got the camera to film her tennis game.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that part.
Maybe she's a professional tennis player.
I mean, she's working on her swing, I guess, well enough. She needs to record it.
Yeah.
If she was a professional, she would have bought the camera because she would have needed it more. She was renting the camera.
That's true.
I think a professional would have needed to purchase the camera.
Maybe she's already really good, and she was like, I just need to do this once.
That could be. Or you rented to see, let's see how this goes before you end up being
Let's let my babies destroy it.
Before you end up being like me and just say, I think I might do this, so I'm going to buy a whole camera about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got pickleball paddles in my garage that have never been picked up.
I really enjoy the opening of this.
All their alien costumes and stuff.
I like seeing how they all play together. I think that's a neat.
It was pretty good.
I think it's really neat. I like that. No, they don't think Nanny's an actual alien. It's part of the game that they're playing, and I really enjoy that part of it. And then my only remaining note is, so it's just E.T.
It's just E.T., but somehow even weirder than an actual alien coming to the nursery.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But then we see a UFO outside of the nursery window, and after it flies away, we hear a scratching at the window. Animal.
This is my worst nightmare. Something at my window, like coming in my window. I think about this all the time.
I have a similar nightmare. My similar nightmare is I'm just going to look at the window and something's looking back at me.
Yeah, that would be. I would just die instantly.
I think so too. I think my heart would be like, well, we had a good run.
We don't want to see how this plays out.
Yeah.
Why? What's the point?
Well, Animal is on the other side of that because he says, Mama, and walks towards the window.
He had a mama at some point or knows the concept of mama.
Yeah, because Kermit tries to tell him, like, Animal, that's not your mama. This feels like maybe a conversation they've had to have multiple times throughout their lives of, again, Animal, that is not your mom. She's gone.
It's never going to be your mom, dude.
Well, he welcomes in the alien saying, want to play? And I put in my notes, is that a fucking koala bear?
That's what I put too. Yep. I put, is this a fucking koala? It's the same exact thing.
I remembered the episode. So I was like, oh, this is the koala episode.
What a strange animal for them to pick to be the creature.
I guess. Okay, so on one level,
like a monkey would have been less weird.
Yeah,
but here's the thing.
But more dangerous.
That's the thing. That's exactly the thing.
Koalas can give you like syphilis or whatever.
Well, a koala can bite you. It can scratch you, but in general, they're pretty passive.
Yeah.
Don't go play with one in the wild. Don't do it. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying like in comparison, a monkey, like you don't mess around with monkeys.
Yeah,
like they will mess you up. Like,
and it couldn't be like a raccoon because that would be kind of scary and something that could, like, the kid could bring a raccoon in the house and be like, look at this.
Right.
It's Irma.
And again, raccoons carry diseases as well. And like, there's a lot. So I feel like, okay, I guess, especially if they're not going to make it something like a dog.
That's the thing is I think you also run into a Goofy Pluto situation with like, if you get a different kind of animal where you have this animal come in who's like the same height as all the Muppet Babies, who are mostly also animals. But
it's a real animal.
It's a real animal who can't talk. And so you have this weird disconnect where at one point when they call it a koala bear, Fozzie's like, that's not like any bear I've ever seen. And I'm like, dude, look in the mirror. You also don't look like any other bear. So if a real bear cub suddenly wandered into the nursery, you would also be like, what the hell's that thing? That doesn't look like me. So it rode that weird line a few times where I was just like, this, I guess, is maybe the best animal choice. But also it's weird to bring a real animal that is almost a Muppet Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I do think it's weird. I remember researching it as I was watching it, and I was just going like, how dangerous are koalas? And I was looking at that and I was like, oh, well, generally, like, you don't want to approach them in the wild because they could bite you, but normally they'll just try to get away from you.
But they eat poisonous leaves exclusively. Their brains are totally messed up and they're sleepy all the time.
Yeah.
So I think you'd be mostly okay.
It's chlamydia, not syphilis, that they'll give you.
Right. Okay.
So
either one is not what I want.
yeah.
No.
Especially that, yeah. Like, I hung out with a koala once and I got chlamydia is not a fun story of your trip to Australia.
Oh, I thought that was a real story.
I thought you were just about to break that news. I was like, damn, okay.
No. Sorry to report, that was not a true story.
I follow a wombat in Instagram, and they're pretty darn cute. But also, like, if they're around people for their whole lives, generally they're fine. But also they can, like, slam into you and hurt you, and they have teeth. And
I wonder, too, like, the moment that koala bear is coming through the window, we looked at it and went, is that a koala bear?
Koala.
And so I wonder if there's an animal like a wombat or something that they could have picked that maybe would have looked a little less instantly recognizable from the silhouette.
But then once it was revealed, it would be too weird, I think. Like,
this is also very weird, Sam.
well, yeah.
No, but they had to do something.
Oh,
okay?
what if it was a human baby?
That
like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
What is this thing?
This is a baby? We're calling ourselves babies. We're not babies.
Nanny, we have some questions for you. What are we? Is this flesh or is this felt? I don't know.
Or is it just pencil and ink?
Oh,
Who knows?
God.
Well, and that's the other thing about Muppet Babies. So Muppet Babies, they are flesh and blood in Muppet Babies.
Yes,
because Skeeter gets a virus.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And they have to go into
Fozzie
her.
loses a tooth.
Well,
oh,
Kermit gets sick a couple times in the Muppet Show, I'm pretty sure. So they're capable of getting diseases.
Okay.
That's true.
But the tooth thing, I don't know. They are flesh and blood though, because they are not puppets. They're clearly not puppets.
Right. You can see their full body. They're walking around. They're supposed to be actual babies walking around on two legs.
Yes.
Whereas, like, we've talked about this, the Muppets on the Muppet Show will sometimes hint at the fact that they know they are puppets.
Right.
Like, but we also get hints that these characters know they're in a TV show. So,
Well, they break the fourth wall.
right. These Muppets know they're in a cartoon, but I don't know if they
Gonzo
know.
especially.
I don't know if they know that cartoons are not the real world necessarily. Maybe we'll learn more about that in the future. For now, Gonzo's offering up Camilla to the alien as a sacrifice.
At one point, Scooter very nonchalantly says, "Look, it's gonna get Gonzo."
I liked what Gonzo did there too. Where he initially reacted with like, no, that's mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he realizes he's scared it or hurt its feelings, he's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't, I don't know. There's something about that that's kind of sweet, and I appreciated it. I just find this episode kind of like, okay.
I do like something that I think this does for kids. It's important that Fraggle Rock doesn't always do. Is when the babies realize they've hurt somebody's feelings, they're almost always immediately apologetic and feel bad about what they've done.
Yeah.
In Fraggle Rock, sometimes the lesson ends up being like, well, maybe you shouldn't be so sensitive. And it's like, I don't think that's the lesson you intended to teach, but it's where it landed.
But sometimes that is the case in Fraggle Rock, where they're both wrong. Sometimes you're both wrong.
Right, but I think the lesson becomes more muddled when you're doing that.
Sure.
Versus here, you get to see lots of examples of things like Gonzo realizing he hurt the feelings of this alien and immediately feeling bad about that. So they ask the alien where it's from. They give it a solar system book and let it point, and it points to Neptune. And Fozzie goes, "There's a planet called Nap Time?" Which doesn't even sound
Everybody
the same.
yells at him so loud.
Good.
Fozzie, you idiot! No, I feel bad for him. It does sound similar. Neptune and nap time. I think it sounds similar.
I'm with Matt on this. There was a joke that I out loud in my living room went.
You have to be given space to make a mistake, don't you think?
Well, yes.
There's difference between asking what Neptune is and going, there's a planet called Nap Time?
My attitude is he's been getting these hints and even knows in his own mind that his jokes are not good and they are not improving.
If he had presented it as a joke, I would have been okay with it.
Okay, that's actually a very good point. Yeah. Okay.
If he had said it like he thought, like, I've got a good joke here. I'm going to say there's a planet called Nap Time. That's a Fozzie thing to me. Him just being like the least intelligent Muppet Baby is wearing on me a lot. This is just E.T. at this point, except Piggy's plan to get the alien back is to wish upon a star and hope that will work. Mm-hmm. I noticed during this episode as well, something that I think happens in almost every episode. Scooter and Skeeter are constantly pulling up their shorts.
Yeah. And a couple of there was a point early in this show where a lot of them would do that. Mm-hmm. I think Rolf did it a couple of times.
Is saggy diaper going on?
Now it is just the twins who do it all the time. Very weird.
Yeah, it's got like their shorts start sagging a little bit, and as they walk up to the group of people, they're like, "Hey guys!" Like,
yeah,
it's the reverse Picard maneuver.
Pull down your shirt, pull up your pants.
Yeah. And it's funny because like everyone did it in Star Trek because that would happen with the shirts were riding up, but it became a thing synonymous with Picard.
Yeah.
And so now
much less dignified to be hiking up your pants.
It is.
Like
Picard walked into a room and was like, "Hey guys, what's the deal?"
What were you just doing out there, Picard?
Those pants don't fit right. God damn it. No, it is kind of funny though. They're always adjusting, but in some respect, I kind of like that from an animation standpoint because it means they're active.
Right. There's something interesting at least going on. They're not just like constantly walking up without life to them.
Yeah. Matt mentioned in the last episode that Rolf is often just standing completely still.
Yeah.
And now that's all I can see is Rolf is always just like.
Yeah.
His eyes are like weirdly wide a lot of the times too. So he's just like staring in the general direction of the action that's happening.
And he's like, is it time to sing a song yet? No?
I got my piano when you're ready.
I'll check in later, guys.
Well, the kids imagine they're going to make a phone call to phone home for the alien to call.
That's so weird.
Yeah, they imagine they're on a phone booth to call Neptune, and they get the Yoda residence by accident. But for some reason, that's like a 2-second long scene. And then Gonzo plans to make a giant slingshot out of a bunch of random crap, like they made the exercise bike.
That's when they go to Wacky Land.
Right, yes, the Salvador Dali land. And that also doesn't really work. So Scooter decides to build a rocket ship out of a bassinet, a vacuum, and some other crap.
Yeah. Well, first Scooter is like mad at Kermit for wanting to call on the phone. And he says, a long distance call, that's not scientific. That's fucking the most scientific thing that happens in the whole episode. That's literally science.
I was even impressed that they were like, it'll be $2 million. You know?
Yeah.
And then coming out of freaking nowhere is a song. Because they decide they're going to build the rocket ship, and they're like, we can use a vacuum, we can use a bassinet, and all of a sudden there's piano playing, and you're like, oh shit, we're in a musical number. And it's just a song about building their rocket and flying it to Neptune, and I kind of liked this one.
I so far have enjoyed all 3 songs, frankly. I didn't like the last episode, but I did enjoy the song, and that was my point with all of them. It was kind of like, these songs are not bad.
There's a point in this song where somebody says he's going to dip cookies in the Milky Way. Dips it in the Big Dipper, though. Not really correct.
Well, isn't the Big Dipper in the Milky Way?
I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know.
Come on, Sideshow.
I really don't know. Is it?
Well, I think we're all
not sure.
We're all like in the Milky Way, right?
We're not seeing many stars in other galaxies.
Oh God,
so
we're also
probably
dumb.
in the Milky Way.
Is it?
It is the Big Dipper in the Milky Way galaxy. Our sun and the 7 stars that form the Big Dipper in the constellation all orbit the center of the Milky Way at different speeds. So yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's in the Milky Way.
So,
what a stupid name for a galaxy. The aliens are going to laugh at us when they come and see that we call it that. Call it what?
Milky Way? What's
named
milk?
It after a candy bar?
Yeah, and what's milk?
The best candy bar.
Oh, wow.
It's
okay.
Well, Snickers are better, but
Three Musketeers.
No, bullshit. No.
Three Musketeers is definitely the wrong answer, but let's continue.
With the candy debate or the episode?
We'll do the candy debate on Patreon.
All right.
Be an extra.
Well, they get to Neptune, and it looks an awful lot like Cloud City, from Empire Strikes Back. We get to see a cool few robotic moments. Kermit wishes he was back in a swamp because for some reason the technology made him miss the simplicity of home.
And when was he ever in a
Who
swamp?
the hell
He's
knows?
A baby.
So the robots make a fantasy swamp for him there to sit on a log.
That was fun. I like that. Yeah.
And then this leads to him changing.
He's just like, they're frogs now.
Well, no, because he changes the fantasy. Because when they get to the swamp, he's like, this is what I imagined Irma's home planet would look like. And all the kids are like,
True.
Okay, I guess we leave Cloud City now. And then they're just on Dagobah. So they go to Irma's Yoda-looking house. And Irma's babies, I think Kermit is their dad. These little Pikmin-like creatures.
They do look like little frogs, though.
They got their eyes on top of their heads like Kermit does. So maybe that's the first other creature they've seen like that. And they're like, I guess this is our dad.
There's another weird mean to Fozzie part where somebody's like, "Oh, that's Irma's mama. It's his Myrma," and then Fozzie says, "Irma's mama's name is Myrma," and then everybody says, "Stop that, Fozzie!" But somebody else said it first.
Maybe
I think Rolf says it first, and Rolf just like fades into the background, like I'm not.
he's just
that
had
was
enough
me,
of
my
those
bad,
moments.
but-
It's like the Marge yelling Bart at Lisa thing, the meme where it's like, "Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
you're
force
right.
a habit." Like
You're
Fozzie
right.
says something and they just assume he said something idiotic. Well, we find out the kids didn't pretend hard enough, and so Irma, the alien, is still in the nursery.
Just didn't magically disappear somehow.
They hear the truck outside and see a scary man with a cage. An alien catcher is here. Then there's a ring of the doorbell, and the kids want to disguise Irma even better, even though I feel like she was pretty well disguised. And we learn that Mr. Johansson is here, who has been tracking a creature.
The show has a weird obsession with naming these characters like that.
In the last
Just like,
episode, we had a
who
Mr.
cares?
Jenkins.
Mr. Johansson, who hosts a very popular YouTube channel.
Yeah, Mr. Joe Hansen has been here. But Mr. Johansson comes in and lets us know that this is actually a koala bear, not named Irma. It's named Charlie.
He hates that they named it Irma. Also, Nanny says very calmly, he's tracking a creature and he tracked the footprints to your window. One of the scariest sentences you could say
Can
to
you
anyone.
imagine if we wrapped up this podcast, you walked up to your living room and there was a koala sitting in the middle of your floor? You would not have a normal day.
Nope, but
I don't know how I
Nanny's
would
always
react.
having a normal day.
I legitimately don't know how I would react.
I mean, like, it'd be weird enough if like a bird or a cat or something got into my house that I didn't expect, but a freaking koala?
Bird would be worse than a koala.
oh yeah.
Bird would be like, what do I do? What do I do? Koala would be like,
I think you
guess
guys
I
are
call-
underestimating koalas.
I would call Jesse. And that would be the
Yeah,
end of
that would I guess for all
To be
of
fair,
these, I
we'd
would
all call
probably
Jesse from Animal
Yeah.
Wonders.
Yeah.
We do
Yeah.
have a friend who handles wild animals.
Yeah.
A koala is probably not going to charge me or anything. Like they're just going
They're
to.
fast.
Are they?
Do you know that?
I've seen videos of angry koalas running across roads at people.
You just punt it. That's the end of that.
Well, this is the moment where I really felt the weirdness of this zookeeper not looking around the room and going, should I take all of these with me?
Have you gotten to the one where? Have you gotten to the episode where Rolf is freaked out about zoos?
No.
No, that
Okay.
sounds great though.
It's like mildly upsetting. At least it was when I was a kid.
Oh, I can't
He
wait.
was-
Interesting.
He was actually like upset and scared about zoos.
Oh, poor guy.
But this is the thing. Like that guy should look at Gonzo and be like, I think I should maybe take him.
We should autopsy that guy.
What the hell are you?
Yeah. And Mr. Johansson gives them some free passes to the zoo for taking such good care of the koala, which felt a little like, please, God, don't tell anyone that I lost a koala.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Nanny's so calm because he slipped her like $1,000.
Yeah. Wait, what happened? The koala bear got into this nursery and is playing with your children? Please do not tell anyone this happened.
Joe, how'd you lose a whole koala?
I don't know, man. I looked away.
Did they ever even broach how the koala escaped or that
No.
it even did escape?
No, they just say like it got loose from the zoo and he tracked it down. And that's where this episode ends. Presumably in the future, the kids will go to the zoo and redeem those free passes. And
They have to go within 6 months, though, because the koala is only there for 6 months.
That's true.
They tell us for absolutely no reason.
that is the most unnecessary detail of this episode. He could have just been.
I actually looked up to see if Charlie the koala was real and was at a zoo for 6 months, like if he was in
Right.
DC or something. But I don't think he is.
Well, because there's a tag to this episode.
Yeah.
which is the truck looks like it lifts off.
Yeah, where maybe he's an alien actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? They do. I was taking that as the kids imagine that the UFO flew away, but maybe it was a real UFO.
Sure. I mean, that's the thing. You find out by going to the zoo and they go, we've never had a koala named Charlie here.
We've never heard of a Mr. Johansson.
He died 6 years ago on that
wow.
road.
And our last episode to discuss this week is Good, Clean Fun.
Fucking hated this episode.
This one was kind of fun.
It's got some
I
hateable
hated
stuff mixed in, but I liked it better than the Fun Park Fantasies one.
Oh, Fun Park Fantasies all day for me. Oh my God. This was brutal.
Well, this episode's from December 8th, 1984. It starts off with the kids playing with clay. This is when Rolf sculpts his Wolfgang von Rolfhoven. The fact that
Which if somebody does a 3D print of that, I want it. I want to. That
it's
looks
very,
cool
very
as
good.
heck.
His sculpting skills,
Top-notch.
better than even his piano playing skills.
Yeah.
Skeeter makes a clay boat and soaks Scooter with some water. We get to see Scooter's eyes when he takes off his glasses. He's wiping off his glasses, and we get to see his beady little eyes, just like two little dots. And later on,
Which is the opposite of what happens with Bunsen.
No, we get little beady eyes with Bunsen as well.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right. It's weird. So with Bunsen, when he puts his glasses on, his eyes just disappear.
Yes.
And when Scooter puts his glasses on, his glasses fill up the frame. His eyes fill up the frame.
Yeah.
But they both have beady little eyes when they take their glasses off. Well, Animal's being a menace and trying to sabotage everyone's sculptures. And at one point, he has a glass of water that he's going to pour and says, "Go bye-bye." And Piggy reminds him that the show's not over yet, Animal. They do moments at the end of most episodes where they look at the camera and they address us. Like, Fozzie runs into the screen when they're in the funhouse of mirrors and says, like, "I hope I didn't break your TV." And so there's moments like that. But this is an extra step across that fourth wall of like, oh, no. We're putting on a show. We can't wrap
We're
it up
talking
yet.
to each other about putting on a show.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, again, it would be interesting if that unraveled throughout the seasons and that's like, we find out more of that, but I don't think that's the case.
Is there a director? Like,
it's just Steven Spielberg for some reason sitting in a chair like he would on Animaniacs.
it's Animaniacs. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like Tiny Toons and Animaniacs. Yeah, he was always there.
Bunsen and Beaker are also here, unfortunately. Bunsen makes a microscope out of clay and says he can look inside of Beaker's mind to see what makes him tick. And it's so rude. He puts him under the microscope, looks at his head, sees a peanut, and says, "Just what I suspected. You're a peanut brain."
That's so mean.
It was all mean.
He sculpted an entire microscope out of clay just to make fun of his friend.
Well, this is also weird if you've watched other Muppet stuff and know their relationship. You're like, this is the guy you've been torturing for,
but also
decades,
are in love with at the same time.
Yeah. And then you're just gonna say, and you're stupid.
Yeah,
like
Bunsen would never outright insult Beaker. I
agree.
No,
I don't think he thinks of Beaker as necessarily put upon in any way either.
No, but I think he also thinks of Beaker as a fellow scientist. He wouldn't think Beaker was dumb by any stretch.
No, he's his assistant that he feels comfortable putting in precarious situations.
Yeah.
Because Beaker can take it.
Because they both believe in science.
Yeah.
Well, Fozzie here sculpts the saddest sculpture in the history of mankind, a pair of human hands to clap at his jokes that instead sculpt a clay tomato and throw it at him.
That was so interesting.
Well, just the two human hands protruding from the tabletop was like a Lydia Dietz Beetlejuice sculpture.
It's like the thing your like a teacher calls you in and says, "This is what your child sculpted. So we need to talk about this.
We need to have a meeting."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't mean Lydia. I meant Delia. My mistake.
Maybe when Beetlejuice 2 comes out, we'll find out that Lydia became an artist too, and then they'll be not wrong.
There we go. See, that's the thing. I'm right in the future. Everyone. Maybe.
We'll come back and see.
Hey, they're not finished with that movie yet. If you're out there, Tim Burton, you're making it, right?
Hey, Timmy B. Put it in a part where she sculpts a big hand, okay?
Thank you. Well, we get our second moment of really breaking down the walls between fantasy and reality here, because when the hands come to life, they spin Fozzie's propeller hat, which sends him flying through the air, and he crashes into a lamp while airborne. The lamp falls and breaks, which is the inciting incident of Nanny coming into the nursery.
Yes.
So that lamp broke because of those hands coming to life and spinning Fozzie around the room.
Inside of that room, the membrane between fantasy and reality is pretty thin.
So it's not the Muppets, it's the room.
The moment that door opens.
It all sucks out. Whoop, like the gas of reality fills the room.
Maybe there's a gas leak in that room.
Okay,
There we
we're
go.
getting somewhere, I think. They're not psychic.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah, that clears up a lot of stuff.
Nanny comes in, sadly says, I just bought this lamp.
Don't put it in that room, that Nanny.
The kids don't want to tell Nanny how the lamp broke. Fozzie does say an elephant and gorilla were wrestling and how that's broke. So we see the kids just straight up lying to Nanny.
Yeah, I do like that they're covering for each other, but they shouldn't lie.
They also shouldn't let Fozzie be in charge of the lie.
I mean, just in general, you shouldn't let Fozzie be in charge.
That's true. As Frank Oz says, his theory is that Fozzie's the only one who doesn't have keys to the Muppet Theater. So because Nanny is so nice and doesn't, I guess, scold the children for breaking the
Scream at
lamp,
them or something. Yeah.
they decided they should do something nice for her.
Because Nanny's just blazed out of her gourd all the time. That's fine. I'll go buy another lamp. She's rich and she's hot. So,
Living that life.
yeah.
Animal is calmly just watching a cooking show off to the side while everyone's getting in trouble.
That was the weirdest moment of all of these.
I don't know that
why.
a koala coming through the window is Animal calmly
Yes.
watching Justin Wilson on Louisiana Cooking.
Yes, it was to me.
I think it's nice that sometimes Animal has the thing that like calms him down. I think it was an accident in this case, but I could see like in Muppets Mayhem, they being like, oh, we got to turn on Giada. The only thing that calms him down is Giada, you know?
It's always cooking shows?
Yeah.
I could see that, but as it hasn't been done before, when it did happen, I was like, watching a cooking show? That cooking show?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sent me
It was
down.
And
weird.
also it is kind of a nice feeling to think about when you were a kid and you had to watch whatever was on TV. And sometimes it was a cooking show, you know?
Well, especially
Not the way
then.
it is anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back then.
I guess it's possible. I just remember being completely taken out of it and going, the hell are we watching? What?
It is weird that like he is there before everything starts going wrong, just
Yeah.
interacting and throwing clay at people. And then while the kids are explaining to Nanny what happened with the lamp, he apparently crawled over to the TV and was like, I'm going to watch this Louisiana cooking show right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, because obviously this is me and where my brain goes, I had to look up who's that man on the TV. It's a weirdly named man named Justin Wilson, who does not look like a person who would be named Justin Wilson. Apparently, he had a lot of cooking shows and things throughout the years. This one was called Louisiana Cooking, where he would put on a Cajun persona. He was not.
Oh,
Yep.
what?
Yep, he was not. He was from New Orleans, but apparently did not actually have like a Cajun accent. Apparently, and many Cajuns viewed his humor as degrading.
Oh my God.
But guess what? It gets worse. He was also a segregationist who spoke at multiple like conferences that they were apparently having for segregationists back in the day.
Ew.
Yeah, terrible man.
Ugh.
Yeah. That was the unfortunate Wikipedia wormhole I went down for this episode. Skeeter, though, seeing this cooking show, realizes that they should make Nanny lunch. That's what the nice thing they can do for her.
Obviously. Yeah.
This is, again, we hear a piggy yippee skippy in this moment when they're running off to the kitchen. Then we get what is the first of a few unfortunate weight jokes about Piggy in this episode.
Yeah.
And this is something
Yeah.
we have not yet seen on Muppet Babies. There's been like a couple references to her being like tougher or bigger than other people, but not specifically weight coded.
Not
Yeah.
food coded.
Right.
Not yeah.
And in
not
this
eating and
episode,
food
it
coded.
feels like the meanest parts of the Muppet Show coming back.
We haven't really seen it in a degrading way for real puppet Miss Piggy in a long time either.
Yeah, they've kind of moved on from that mostly. Like there was lots of moments.
She's doing a lot of karate chopping more these days than anything else.
Yeah, and in this, it's like it starts off a little bit where Kermit's going to help Piggy up on the counter to get to the sink, and she steps on his head. But he said, Piggy's a little heavier than I thought, which is like a slight little thing that I was like, sort of like, okay, that's not great. But then it does get worse.
Oh, it gets worse.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Rolf's sitting on the counter making dog food sandwiches, and Piggy comes over to taste it. She loves it. And Rolf gets like this weird George Carlin hippie vibe where he's like, far out. I didn't know you like dog food sandwiches. And we get a really weird section where she goes, oh, yuck, I'm poisoned. And it immediately cuts away from her.
She died.
Yeah. Fozzie makes whipped cream pies and interacts with a lengthy Three Stooges pie throwing clip.
Oh, good Lord.
I kind of liked this.
I hated this. Oh,
I like
my
the way
God.
it was handled. Like it's like one of the best interactions we've seen between
Yeah, I think they did a pretty good job with the
and
clips
cartoons.
and
But it does go on for a really long time.
I really don't like Three Stooges, and so I had to sit through that. But also, I was just like, okay, this was one joke, not a 5-minute joke.
They've just tried to do this kind of thing so many times that I think to see it pulled off correctly was kind of like, oh, okay, they're finally starting to get what they're doing here. But,
Yeah, and I think the editing and everything was fine. I just think it was there for too long.
yeah.
Bunsen and Beaker, who again are still unfortunately here, invented self-baking cake dough. Beaker adds too much yeast and the cake takes over the kitchen. And this is when it transforms into Piggy Dough Girl.
Just the sweatiest pun on the Stay Puffed Marshmallow Man.
But also the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Pillsbury Doughboy too.
The thing is, it's doing that weird like Mandela effect thing where some people equate Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and the Pillsbury Doughboy because they're kind of similar.
Right.
But this is the Piggy Dough Girl and then cuts to a clip of Ghostbusters of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Wait,
Yep.
is that who the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man's supposed to be?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just the thing that people equate in their heads. Who like maybe haven't watched Ghostbusters in 40 years are like, was it the Pillsbury Doughboy?
Right.
But it intercuts clips of Stay Puft and a giant piggy with genuinely terrified screams coming off in the background from people that she's terrorizing in the city. And they just make the most unpleasant looking and acting giant version of Piggy here. And the entire thing is that she's obsessed with food and she's eating everything in sight, regardless of if it's Gonzo's hot dog stand or a water tower. As long as she puts some frosting on it, she'll eat it. And this is a weird characterization of Piggy that we have not seen in Muppet Babies.
This is the only episode that I was really like, okay, I want this to end.
Well,
I'm not
thankfully it was
enjoying
a season finale, so they also were like, yeah, we know.
But then somebody else said, let's make 9 more seasons of this.
Only 7 more. But we get to see Gonzo as Captain Cookbook, and I thought for sure we were going to see another Super Gonzo bit that like we've seen in the past. And Bunsen and Beaker pull out a bazooka, the Beast Blaster, to save Gonzo because he immediately gets grabbed by the Piggy Dough Girl. But instead of the Beast Blaster, Beaker grabbed the Yeast Blaster, which makes Piggy even bigger. So big that she can walk across the earth, grabbing chunks of it out with her hands to eat it.
She becomes Galactus.
Yeah. But they're going to use their weirdo inflator to inflate Gonzo to be just as big and disturbing as the Piggy Dough Girl.
No, it's just
And then they
weird.
immediately just fall in love instead of actually defeating each other. So it's presumably it's going to end like Eternals, and they're just going to be like, they're there forever now. Nobody address it.
Floating outside of the Earth's atmosphere, just kissing.
Yeah, but nobody ever mention it again.
But then they make a horrible mess, and Nanny's upset. And then they decide mildly upset, yes. But then they decide, I know what we'll do.
Yeah, because she's like, I'm going to send them to the nursery because she's got to clean up the kitchen now, and they'll all have lunch together after. Bunsen and Beaker get weird in this moment. And they go,
really do.
yeah,
They
thanks
know it
for
was their
inviting
fault.
us, but we better be going. And they just leave for the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
They caused the big
It's almost
mess.
like, why were they there in the first place?
Because they
But
needed
we
sciencey
won't
people to
think too much
invent
about it.
yeast, I guess.
I guess so.
But I couldn't tell if they thought they were in trouble or they were going to be in more trouble if they stayed. But they're just like, yeah, thanks for the invite to lunch, Nanny, but we're going to go home now and walk there by ourselves, I guess. You don't need to take us. Nobody's here to pick us up.
Yeah.
We're babies. But this is when Nanny decides that maybe the kids could give Animal a bath instead of just going back to the nursery and hanging out. Animal is a menace who refused to be bathed until Gonzo matadors him into the bath. They don't even take off his bonnet and clothes. Like, they just bathe this animal fully clothed.
And they all end up in the tub fully clothed.
Well, and they're like, he got a sponge on his head, and they're just scrubbing his bonnet.
His bonnet, yeah.
Well, I guess it probably needs to be cleaned too.
Absolutely. It smells like garbage. He's
That pond,
pooping
it
and peeing
stinks.
everywhere. But they sing a song called Keep Your Animal Clean. And it just, the best thing about it is that it ends with Animal going, animal cute. Like he thinks he's cute once he's clean. And then we hit this episode's Stretch for Time fantasy sequence where Animal goes down the drain, they think. And so they pull the plug and they go down after him. And for some reason, we get to see Indiana Frog show up and do nothing at all.
Just wander around for a few moments.
They run into rat plumbers who are fixing
That
the
was
pipes.
cute. I like
But
these
why
guys.
are they there,
Yeah.
Sam? There's so much. We have Indiana Frog. We have rat plumbers.
The hard hat
We have the
rats.
Great Gurgle. We have so much packed into this unnecessary fantasy sequence. This is when I wrote in my notes, this episode feels an hour long.
It has that problem with like when you get into like avant-garde film and you're like, I have no idea how much longer this could go.
Yes, that's
This
why I
could
wrote
go
that down.
on
Because I felt
forever.
like I had been watching this episode for an hour and I felt like it was nowhere near the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then those kind of movies also, like a lot of times they'll just end really unfulfillingly and you'll just be like, okay.
This one.
And that's what this one does too.
Because we go back and we see that now Nanny's going to have to clean the bathroom because they also messed that up. But instead, they decide to clean it for her. And even though Fozzie is trimming the rug with scissors and Skeeter's using the presumably Nanny's toothbrush to clean the mirror, somehow if this works,
There's a part where Miss Piggy's like, we'll skate the ring out of the bathtub. And Nanny goes, what?
but somehow it all comes together. It all
all is
works.
okay.
The bathroom is sparkling clean at the end.
It's nice.
And
Looks
she's happy with everything they've done this whole time, even though they've made her day a living hell.
Yeah. Worst day of her life so far.
But at least the bathroom's clean.
That's true. That's the worst, one of the worst places to clean.
It is. Oh yeah.
And this is the go bye-bye at the end of the episode that Picky has to remind Animal, hey, now it's time to say go bye-bye.
Yeah, because there was like a couple other times where he tried to say it in the episode after the first one too, right?
I think he says something else about like leaving or it's time to go. And she's like, no, not
Yeah.
quite yet.
No.
So even Animal knows this episode is too long or feels too long.
He wanted to get out of it in the first 2 minutes.
I guess this is why when I look at the other episodes, I'm like, yeah, their imagination, they didn't get to go to the thing. They didn't, they were too tired, whatever. But at the same time, it's like, it's fairly innocuous. Like they're not hurting anything. They're not causing too much grief to Nanny. It's just, they're having fun. They're just having fun imagining things and having a good time. And this one, they're a menace.
Fully unleashed. Yeah.
But that does it for these 4 episodes, the end of season 1 of Muppet Babies. Sam, we've done it. Are you ready for 7 more seasons?
No,
Over the next couple of years of our
I
lives?
don't want to do it.
You ready to be like turning 40 and finishing Muppet Babies?
Ew, is that true?
It might be. We'll see.
Oh, Matt, that sucks. That's bad. But they'll be interspersed, so we'll be okay.
Yes, we'll have Fraggle Rock and Labyrinth and lots of other things along the
I
way.
miss the Fraggles so much. I love those guys.
We'll be talking about them very soon.
Nick, do you still like Muppet Babies?
I do.
You sick.
It's not something I would ever watch outside of doing this podcast.
Same.
But I appreciate what it is, and I appreciate what it was trying to do, and I think it did a lot of positive things for me as a kid.
I'm still open to there being one episode that we watch, and I'm like, okay, that was great. That was something that I would watch outside of, but I don't know.
And I had no idea there were that many seasons.
God.
So I'm thinking I only watched like seasons 1 and 2.
When we get to 1987, there are Saturday mornings where they're airing Muppet Babies, the Fraggle Rock animated series, and Little Muppet Monsters on the same morning.
Whoa.
That's going to be a bad time for us.
Yeah, and I had sort of aged out at that point, so I was not watching it anymore. But I know I watched the first 2 seasons because there are a couple episodes I mentioned to you guys that you hadn't seen yet, and I'm pretty sure they're in season
Snow White
2.
one is,
So
I'm pretty sure.
Well,
yeah,
like I said, we'll be back in December to discuss more Muppet Babies, and I'm sure Nick will join us again sometime in the future to discuss Muppet Babies, Farscape, or anything else along the way.
anything you want to talk about, I'm game.
Have you seen the Star Wars Muppet Show episode?
Oh yeah,
I assumed.
that's where C-3PO tap dances.
Yeah, that's great.
And everybody keeps complimenting Luke's outfit, or Gonzo does at least, but it's Luke Skywalker's best outfit.
Well, it's also the first time anyone ever saw that outfit because that came out before Empire Strikes Back came out.
Yeah.
So no one had seen his Bespin outfit until that episode of The Muppet Show.
Fucking iconic. What a great outfit. So much better than his black outfit in Return of the Jedi.
Ooh.
I agree. His black outfit's trying too hard. He's just kind of like,
Yes.
I'm cool now, with no earning being cool at all.
Yeah.
And he has no thighs.
Okay.
And so those tight black pants don't do him any favors. Whereas the Bespin outfit's a little looser.
Yeah.
It's got more lines on it.
Yeah.
I could have been a fashion designer.
All right, so before we get out of here, I got to ask both of you, did you have time this week to enjoy any non-Muppet media?
I wrapped up the Friday the 13th series that was on in the late 80s, I think into the early 90s.
show.
And it has nothing to do with Jason Voorhees. It's
Of course not. Why would it?
No, it's because a producer worked on Friday the 13th and the movies and the show, Frank Mancuso Jr.
And he wanted to make money.
And he wanted to make money, and he thought the name Friday the 13th would draw more people, even though the original title was The 13th Hour, which was,
right.
but it was a terrific show, actually. I really enjoyed it. It's a very late 80s anthology show about these antique shop owners who their uncle had passed away, and they found out he left them the antique store, and they found out that he used to sell cursed items, and they have to go find these items and bring them back.
That sounds cool.
It's really cool. It's a neat idea. It's not perfect, but I really enjoyed it.
Does the mask show up or anything? Is there any?
No, there was a plan at one point to have the mask be the final episode. And
Like literally nothing from Friday the 13th movie series shows up in this show.
no, except a couple actors that
Are they playing the same characters?
no.
All right.
But it's good. I like it. I like anthology horror shows. So this was fun.
Sam, how about you?
Oh boy. Well, it's been a while since we recorded, and I've seen Barbie, and I've seen Oppenheimer, and I've seen Ninja Turtles, and probably some other stuff that I'm forgetting.
Do you want to give us a quick review of all those?
Barbie, great. I loved it. Had a great time at Barbie. Oppenheimer, I recognize, well-made film. Didn't have like the most fun at Oppenheimer. Obviously.
I mean, it doesn't really end on a cheery note.
No, I did. I think it was a little corny. It was like so many famous people in it that eventually you just get to be like, wow, he's in it. Wow, he's in it. And it's a little distracting from like freaking, what's his name? The guy from
Casey Affleck?
Queen? No. Yeah,
Oh.
that was also like, what are you doing here? The guy from the Queen movie.
Oh, Remy Malek.
Yeah, when he shows
Yeah.
up at the end, it's just like, what's this guy doing? And then he's like the hero at the end. Spoiler alert! At the end of the movie, it's like, ugh, go away. Anyway, Ninja Turtles. I didn't love it, but it was fun. I would recommend seeing it because it looks great, and there's a lot of like, I love that they're teenagers in it. I think there's some things that they do that make it kind of like, well, where are you gonna go from here? It's like, but I won't get into it. Matt?
I've been playing a lot of video games, mostly Tears of the Kingdom, but also F1 Manager 23.
Okay.
And the perk of both of those games is I can play them without listening to them. So I've been listening to a bunch of audiobooks while playing these games that I don't need to listen to.
You don't need to listen to Tears of the Kingdom?
I mean, for the most part, no. I'm just running around and
You
there's
don't need to hear
subtitles and
the same
everything.
little piano tinkle for the 10,000th time?
I don't need to hear random characters going,
Oh.
and I'm like, ugh. There's sometimes I'm talking to people and I'm like, you're too sexual right now.
Yeah.
Stop it. I just like talking to you about a sign and you're like, ugh. And I'm like,
Yeah,
stop
making
it.
Tim
I
the
don't like
Toolman
this.
Taylor sounds.
Yeah. And so
Oh
I
man,
like,
that would be a great edit.
so I usually turn the volume pretty far down even when I am playing.
Yeah.
But with this, I can toss on one of those games
Sure.
and just listen to an audiobook. So currently I'm listening to American Prometheus, the Oppenheimer book
Did
that
you
the
see
movie is
Oppenheimer?
based on. I did.
Did you like it?
I did. The first hour is too much. Basically, the first hour is set up for the second and third hours in a way where like the first hour felt like a trailer for the rest of the movie because there's literally like nonstop music the entire first hour of the film just in the background. And it like every line felt like a trailer line where it's like, and now we have to go do this. Now we have to go do this. And it just like felt like
You must go study with boars or whatever.
yeah, and it just kept going and going and going, and then like it's like almost exactly at the hour mark, it just like settles.
That's true. Did you see Barbie?
Yep.
Did you like Barbie?
We talked about this last time.
We did? No, you didn't tell me anything about it because I hadn't seen it yet.
Oh, right. Yes. I also very much enjoyed that movie. It was very fun. I enjoyed both of them a lot.
I don't really go to the movies anymore, apparently.
You didn't do Barbenheimer? It's not too late.
No. I might still be interested to go see Barbie, but I don't want to see Oppenheimer on the big screen. That seems like a really intense thing.
I mean, it is
beautiful.
But
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is, but it's like I don't have the energy to deal with this in public.
Well, before we go, we want to let you know what we'll be watching next time. And next time, well, we're actually taking a week off. But then we'll come back to discuss season 16 of Sesame Street. And for that, we'll be watching episode 1966, which is the season premiere, episode 2089, where we'll find out how Oscar came to Sesame Street.
What?
Yeah. A best of season 16 playlist, and a music video for a song called Wet Paint.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see these guys again.
Yeah. It's been a while since we talked about Sesame Street.
When did Me and My Llama happen?
I have no idea what you're
What
talking
is
about.
that? Yeah. Never. I think the answer is never.
No,
You made that up. Actually,
thing.
I'm remembering that we have seen this, but it's a very
yes.
it's very early on.
It's one of those. It's one of
they
those
go to the
weird little,
dentist.
like,
Yeah.
Yes. Takes the
We're
llama
going to the dentist today.
Yeah, that was season 10. So we talked about that in our very first Sesame Street episode that we did, I think.
Sometimes we gloss over those non-Muppet parts too, though. But the
That's
llama
fair.
dentist one we did talk about.
We did mention the llama going to the dentist because it was so fucking weird.
Because we were like, what? Why?
It's very weird.
Well, we got to give a huge thanks to Nick for joining us today.
Hey.
Thanks, Nick.
Is there anything you'd like people to go check out, do, watch, listen?
Well, I mean, so my main project these days is I'm an executive producer on a show called Study Hall. And if you are thinking about going to college or maybe thinking about going back to college and have struggles there of knowing the best way to do it, check out our channel. It gives you lots of ideas about what to major in, what you might enjoy majoring in, and can even get you started down the path of getting college credit without actually having to register for a course. So yeah, go check out youtube.com/studyhall. And or if you just want to go to the website to look at college credits and stuff, it's gostudyhall.com. But other than that, I got nothing to promote.
Well, I do want to say thank you again, Nick, and we will have you back
Thanks.
to discuss more Muppets in the future.
I enjoyed it.
Well, that's good. It would have sucked if we had put you through hell.
We don't enjoy it, but we still have to do it.
Yeah, we enjoy talking about these things. We don't always enjoy watching all of these things.
Sometimes I fall asleep.
Well, we also need to thank our friend Tuna for making the music for this podcast and Cassie Wilson for singing our theme song. Don't forget to go to commitment.com and commitmentstuff.com if you want to check out our website and pick up some commitment merch. You can also email us at mail@commitment.com if you have any questions or links to secret unseen Muppet things. And you can follow this podcast on all those social media things. We're on all the Twitters now. It's all at Commitment Pod. So
various
wherever
Twitters
on
and all
any
its
Twitter,
forms.
whether it's the Blue Sky Twitter, the X Twitter, the Instagram Twitter, whichever one, we're always at Commitment Pod.
That's not stupid or confusing at all for anybody.
It's
is
not
it?
terrible. I'm working on having a document that we can send out there that has the watch list of things we're going to watch every week for all the episodes we've ever done. So that way we don't have to rely on just these social media platforms that go away day to day. But that'll
Maybe
be
we
an
should start
eventual
our
thing.
own social media platform.
Well, you can. You can follow me on the internet at Matthew Gatos.
I'm Sam Schultz. And Nick?
I'm not anywhere.
That's probably for the best. No one needs to be anywhere.
No,
if they
I don't.
have to be.
Do you want to give out your home phone number? I gave out my home phone number last episode.
Well, you tried. I stopped you. Well, on that note, as always, keep believing.
Keep pretending.